Welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Aaron Choi, and today I have a conversation with David Blake. We met through uh, Mito Meter. So he's a consultant, EMF consultant, man who wears many hats, as I've learned recently. And we met because I purchased one of these meters. We'll get into what it is exactly and what it looks like. But I believe we're both on a mission to help people live healthier lives. And I'll let David describe what he does and how he came across this field of looking into EMF or connections to health and why he is so passionate about putting out products and consulting people on how to use it. It's not just the tool he's offering, but the knowledge, the solutions, and everyday, very practical uh, steps that we can take to live healthier lives. So, welcome, David. And so, how would you
Thank you,
describe
Aaron.
what you do?
Well, basically, to put it simply, I'm a retired TV salesperson. I used to do audiovisual for 25 years, 30 years, high-end custom um, smart homes and things. But in 2011, I moved more into EMF mitigation when I discovered putting dirty electricity filters in customs homes was improving the performance of their equipment, helping plants grow better, and helping my customers sleep better. And then I started going to homes and cleaning up electromagnetic fields and creating healthier environments. And in doing so, I ended up working in really unhealthy environments. I was going to homes where there's high powered transmission lines outside the homes. I was working in homes with cell phone towers, and eventually got to me. So I didn't want to do it anymore. I was getting sick just spending my days in sick homes measuring them. So I I invented the Mito Meter. So the Mito Meter is actually a NVRD10. It's a which is from EnviroSense, and they're a company that makes MF meters. But I've rebranded this one and made it to suit building biologists, a typical building biologist who where a customer that they've serviced will need a screening tool just to manage their environment after the building biologist has been, or if I've been there. So we needed a meter that we could send to someone who could, measure a new TV and make sure that the Wi-Fi is off on the TV, or make sure if they want to go and buy a house, they need something to go and measure the power lines, or make sure there's no cell phone towers nearby. So I wanted the perfect tool because buying large professional meters, um, buying a whole collection of large professional meters is expensive and it's bulky. You're not going to carry them around everywhere. So this one here is calibrated in Australia by me. It's not a lot of these boards make it to market. So they arrive as a board, and you'll think that'll be very cheap, but only the best boards go into the Mito meters. So it's very hard to come up with this end product. I spend between half an hour to an hour on each one. Put a little grounding pad in here so it increases electric field readings and stuff. But the whole idea is I want to help as many people as possible, and I'd love to be able to go to every mother possible and create the healthiest home for every mother. That would be my dream, if time and money wasn't an issue. So, but I can't do that. So I thought the best way to get as many mums across the line, because they're the most important people in the world, is to create a meter that I can put in their hands and give them some instructions on how to create a healthy home for their children and their family, or even find a home. So I've ended up going from audiovisual, being a TV salesman, or I was even called Sony man for a long time because I had a Sony shop for several years and had a Sony racing car, Sony company car. So people just call me Sony, but now I'm just a guru. So people come to me when they've got problems with EMFs, geopathic stress, and environmental issues, or want to wire their home correctly without frying themselves with EMFs. But I've fallen in love with this tool because I can just help so many people get across the line with the screening tool. It measures the three main EMFs: electric fields, magnetic fields, and RF. So that's what I'm about. I'm now a Mito man. I'm not the Sony man. I'm now the Mito man.
Yeah, and Mito
But
referring to mitochondria. Uh,
mitochondriac.
Yeah.
So I'm a mitochondriac now. So a mitochondriac is someone who's fascinated by the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the body. So
Yeah.
if you've got a strong if your mitochondria is happy and on running at full, running on all cylinders, you know, you can't really be sick. You're running at full power. So I discovered mitochondrial health when I got sick around 2015, when my mitochondria took a hiding. I started drinking low deuterium water, right? Uh, 35 parts per million or something. And it just changed my life. I couldn't believe how much better I felt. So that's when I realized, EMFs and just how important it was because the mitochondria actually cycles at 100 hertz. So we live in 50 hertz in the power. Everyone lives in the 50 hertz. Well, you live in 60 hertz, but um, well, 50 hertz is a multiple of 100. So it's cycling at the same frequency as the mitochondria. So the electric fields is just, if you can get your body out of outside of electric field of your home, which I don't know anyone who doesn't live in electric fields. Not only is it going to help the mitochondria, but you've got inflammation issues that you resolve as well, and gut issues, and that's what we're going to talk about. I mean, you're the doctor. I'm
Yeah.
not a doctor. I'm a tech. So you're
Yeah.
doc. I'm tech. I'm the tech guy. But together, you know, we could solve a lot of people's problems. And uh, I can't solve anyone's problem as their environmental problems if they don't have any meters at all. A lot of people try and ask for advice and they don't have any EMF meters or anything. So it's just guessing when I answer people's questions about what they're concerned about in their home. Whereas if they've got a meter, I can say, oh, we'll try RF mode or magnetic mode or electric field mode and work out what's going on.
Yeah.
But
Also
anyway, that's
say,
what I'm about.
yeah,
Just call me the Mito man,
Mito
the
Man.
Mito tech man. Yeah.
And that was what drew me to this because for many years I've actually been aware, even as a teenager, I was aware of EMF. You hear stories like my first cell phone. I remember it was one of those flip phones, Sanyo flip phone, and I would
Was
carry
it Sanyo? Sony?
Sanyo. I remember it was way back, probably early 2000s. I was carrying it in my pocket as a teenager, and then I realized I was started getting a burning sensation on my thigh where the phone was sitting. And intuitively, I should not be keeping my phone on my body that close. Like it was doing something to me. I could not explain it. So over the years, I've intuitively felt something like I've slept over at friends' places. I was in the same room as the router. They just happened to keep the router there. And I was like, I cannot sleep. And I cannot. And these are the things that, as a naturopathic doctor, I'm trying to understand the root causes. And
Yeah.
as you said, it's very hard to know for sure. Like intuitively, I know, but I also want a way to confirm. Like, am I feeling things, or am I making it up? So I think something like the Mito Meter is it's helped me understand my electromagnetic environment to
Yeah.
calibrate my own intuition
Yeah. Yeah. To confirm what you're feeling is real.
and to quantify it, like just like we do lab tests to see what's going on in someone's blood. And I can through history and through observation, I usually do a lot of hands-on medicine. I can get a good sense of where someone's body is, but that data is also just another piece of information to help make decisions. So I'm actually curious, once when you went from Sony man, what was it that people were complaining about or describing to you? Like, what symptoms did you start to see? Just so people have a
Not
sense.
sleeping.
Not sleeping was a big one.
That's the main one. Yeah.
And is it just like small problems with sleeping, or true like insomnia? Like what? Like, do you have any
just
specific
bad not
stories?
sleeping, just not waking up, not feeling rested, and just restless nights, waking up in the middle of the night, or nightmares. Like if you live in high magnetic fields, you know, you can get nightmares in high magnetic fields. Um, yeah, so sleeping's the main one. I mean, that's the no-brainer. I mean, that's where the customers will ring me up and go, David, you got no, I've never slept like this in my life. This is amazing what you've done. Um, and that's probably that's the main one. Wi-Fi, of course, there's a lot of people who turn their Wi-Fi off, and that makes a big difference for them. Because different people are more sensitive to Wi-Fi or more different or more sensitive to cell phone towers that are below 1 kilohertz, sorry, one gigahertz. So some people aren't even affected by frequencies or EMFs, and they'll never call me. They'll never listen to me probably. It's always the people who just note, like yourself, who just notice that they felt something or feel like something's off and they suspect something. Then they're all ears, and then I can usually confirm for them that what their problem is. And as I was telling you yesterday or the day before, I had one customer who had a television that was creating dirty electricity, which went through all the house, and they couldn't sleep. And because I can actually feel EMFs like nobody else, I'm very sensitive. Because I walked into the house and I could feel the TV. Well, I could feel the dirty electricity. I said, turn that TV off because I know electronics really well. I knew that that particular brand of LG of plasma screens caused excessive dirty electricity levels to go through the wiring of a house. Said, turn that TV off, and I took a before and after measurement, and it just dirty electricity flat line. I said, I'm not going to test any more of your house. I'm going to go now. I was only there for 5 minutes, and I want you to report back to me on your sleep. Anyway, they rang back. They said the whole family, because the husband used to watch football till 11 o'clock at night, and no one could go to sleep till 11 o'clock, and they all start work early. So they rang back and they were just blown away. They said, we all go to sleep now and fall straight to sleep at 9, 10 o'clock when we go to bed. The kids fall asleep because all the kids were up until 11 o'clock until the TV was off, until the TV went off. So what I did is I put a filter on the TV, an EMF filter on the TV, and that fixed it. But that's just one example. I can give you countless testimonies of different things that I've done for different people. And sometimes you can go to a home, and it could take you a couple of days to really go through all the problems, because it's a big property, lots of problems. But then probably 80% of the time, if it's just a unit or just one, like an old lady or something, I can solve the problems within 5 minutes. I walk in and just find it. They'll go, I'm not sleeping. And just this lady's got a lamp next to her bed, right, with a fluorescent light on it, and rashes on her face and stuff. And I just show her the EMF bomb she's created for herself when she reads at night. Turn that off, and I said, turn that off, and just in 5 minutes I'm gone. So a lot of it's common sense. I mean, really, at the end of the day, if you put yourself back in nature and then work back, so it's no different than really fixing an old car. Where you start off with a spark and work your way through to where the petrol goes. And if you want to work out if you're being affected by your environment, like if anyone's sick or suspects anything, I recommend going to a different environment. Like like if you can sleep away from your home, then why you got problems sleeping at your home? Move your bed, or sleep in a different bed, and experiment. And you'll find when you experiment, sleep in the couch in the living room, you might find you sleep much better. But then, so if you got a meter, you can work out why. And I was saying to you also before that some people don't really believe that EMFs can affect you, but I can go into their homes and show them a room that no one spends or sleeps in, and I'll show them a room where everyone spends time because the EMF's really low, and the penny drops for and the penny drops for them. They go, oh yeah, no one sleeps in that bed, no one uses that balcony because there's a tower out like 600 meters away, and go, yeah, everyone sits there, but and you, because it's really good ground and there's no EMFs, and so subconsciously most people will gravitate towards good EMF environments. Even my dog, she used to always know, she passed away, she always used to sleep an area on the best areas of the home. She like in the garage downstairs. If I went through with all my professional gear and found the right spot, she would find it instinctively. Um, Mind you, cats like negative energy, so can't really go by cats. So uh, follow your dog. Dogs, as you know well,
Wait,
know.
explain the cat. I have a cat. My cat's actually sleeping on the chair right here. Sometimes I find her. She likes to sit on the refrigerator, which is interesting. And we talked about it. Refrigerator can be quite high in magnetic.
Only at the bottom because where the motor
Only
is, not
where
at the
yeah.
top.
So okay, got it. But why are cats attracted to the would you say when you say negative energy, do you mean they're attracted to
I like ley
non-native
lines, like
EMF?
more geo stuff, more
Just
geopathic
OG.
within
Okay.
EMF.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so more geo, not EMF. But I was just surprised at how good my dog was at finding spots that were good.
So if you don't have a meter, you entrust your dog.
Yeah, I think so. My golden retriever worked for me.
Yeah. Uh, I remember when we first talked, you talked one thing that resonates with me is when you say go back to nature, start with nature.
Yeah,
It might be helpful to define because EMF I think can be quite nebulous to someone who has not studied it or has not been through high school physics in like decades, for example. And even then, there's I think a difference. It's hard to define EMF because there's the natural EMF from the sun, the earth, the magnetosphere. And then what we're talking a lot about the problems that you encounter and help people solve is non-native EMF.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
how do
just
you
like it,
typically maybe communicate that, tell people what the difference is
because even
between
some, because there are bad EMFs, natural EMFs as well. Like there's
true,
certain
yeah,
part, but I mean, if you live in a country that's got strong magnetic fields from the power grid, not no, from the Earth, natural Earth um, magnetic fields, you will be more healthier. So the Earth's magnetic fields are life supportive and far better for you. In fact, I've got equipment where I'll move my bed 3 meters or a meter to find the highest magnetic field of the Earth, static field to I mean, that's going extreme, but um, so net like I really enjoy natural EMF. So as I was saying to you before, I enjoy even sleeping on the ground directly with no mattress to get pure like the Aboriginals, like sleeping like an Aboriginal on the ground. Um, and there's so many benefits because when your whole body's on the ground, um, you don't just have a sheet connected to some uh, ground rod or your PowerPoint, which you shouldn't do. You each your whole body's in direct contact, and the Earth itself, the voltage changes with every. If you even get a standard cheap $10 digital meter and measure the voltage of the Earth every meter, it changes. So there's a voltage shift. There's a potential. There's potentials. It's actually, everything's got a potential, and so the potential changes when you measure from point A to point B from when you're lying down the ground. So you can't beat sleeping lying down the ground. As I was saying before, if I get really sick, I'll go and sleep on the ground, literally, or on tent, wherever, whatever. I'll do whatever I have to do. No mattress. I'll have a pillow and just sleep on the ground. Works miracles. Um, so, and I told you also, I put a nail through my hand, right through the other side, and I slept with a cable, a grounded cable around my hand in a tent because I wanted to be away from the electrical system because I don't like, you shouldn't ground an electrical field. Like every home's got an electric field. So um, I didn't want this hand to get infected because I didn't take a tetanus shot, right? And it was a old metal that went through, old nail. And it bled a lot. So I was happy as I'm pretty sure it would have been clean. But I put this copper around hand and slept like that in the tent. No pain, no problems. Next day, I slept inside. and with no grounding, and the pain went through the roof. I couldn't sleep. It was horrendous. It was starting to swell up. So I went back to the tent, tied the copper cable around, put the grounding rod in the ground, and sure enough, no pain. The swelling went away, and I had to sleep like that for a few nights. But it came right really quick. So even top cyclists in Europe will, if they have an accident and they're racing, they will ground themselves to repair their injury overnight. They'll have special kits designed to put um, connections over where the injury is to boost the speed time. So the amount of people who will be watching this have got inflammation issues, if they just went outside of their home and set up a tent in a good place and slept on the ground, they wouldn't know themselves. It beats any inflammation tablets. So, and then of course you got the sun. I'm a big sun freak. We've had no sun for a long time at the moment, so I'm struggling. But the combination of grounding, sun, because it's a potential issue. It's a potential story because even when you're walking, I think walking on the beach is probably one of the best things you can do in the sun because I mean you got the salt, fresh air, and the negative ions and everything. But even as your foot goes down onto the ground, you can measure the voltage potential of between each step, and there's a rhythm because everything's a rhythm in life. There's a rhythm to everything and a cycle to absolutely everything,
Yeah.
rhythms and cycles. And so as you're walking, there's this voltage potential shifting. It's quite amazing if you measure it. And then you look at the meridians of your foot and where they go and what's happening in that volt as you're walking. Um, so it just does my head in when I see people walking outside under the power lines and high magnetic fields, electric fields with shoes on, Um, but yeah, walking on the beach, um, for me, is just the ultimate in the sunshine. I like to do a bit of free diving, and that's fantastic as well. But yeah, natural EMFs, yeah, it's I don't know how you can be sick. I don't know how anyone could be unwell or sick if you're getting amongst that. And I've always said that if you're in a good environment, because even actually the World Organized Health Organization, World Health Organization, they stated in 2012 on their website that 86% of health issues are related to the environment. And that was back before things went ballistic with cell phone towers and dirty electricity and electric cars and stuff. So, and wireless, everything. So I would say we're well over 90% now of health issues being our environment. And so, you know, if you're not well, the first thing I would say, if you can't clean up, well, just experiment. Just go and stay at a friend's or someone's place and see if that changes anything. I mean, I'm just a huge believer. So that's what I'm all about is creating good environments. Because in the right environment, with natural, because it's basically a signal to noise ratio. I'm a technician, so I think of everything from a technical point of view. So to break it down, it's very simple. It's a signal to noise ratio issue. So that's what we deal with in electronics all the time. We want the best signal, the cleanest signal without any noise. And it's called a signal to noise ratio, SN. And that's what we're dealing with nature at the moment. We're shutting down our God-given electromagnetic spectrum that supports life. We're introducing so much noise, and it's so much more powerful than the background levels. So if we go through the frequency, the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum, and look at the frequencies, and look at say 2 gigahertz or 700 megahertz or 50 hertz, and look at the background levels across that spectrum, we're so much higher over that than what it is naturally. It's just out of control. So it's a signal to noise situation. And I think we can work back from that. That's what you can write at the top of your list is signal to noise, and then work. So your signal is nature's EMFs, the natural frequencies, and then work out. You got to work out what noise you're putting on top of that. So it's just like having McDonald's or crappy food. You've got to work. You've got to reduce those toxins um, and those toxic loads. So it's no different with EMFs. It's the signal to noise ratio. I think, I've written that down in my remarkable on my notes, and I always go back to it just to remind myself: signal to noise, signal to noise. If we, if I can clean that up in someone's home and bring, so if you could live in a home and work in a business where you've got natural sunlight, fresh air, and a good signal to noise ratio, clean signal, you won't know yourself. There's lots of people watching this who will be living in terrible environments. Some won't even know because their immune system's good and none the wiser. But there'll be plenty of people who will know that something's off. Instinctively, their intuition is telling them right now, my environment's off. I need to fix it. But they swept it under the mat because it is hard. Like it's a journey. Like it's like no journey. It's similar to trying to start a new journey of losing weight or getting fit. It's a process, and it's the same with cleaning up your signal to noise ratio. And that's it starts off with screening your home, and then just building it slowly because a lot of people will turn this on, just see red lights and just go, "Oh, I'm going to die." It's the end of the world. But you just got to take. It can be scary, and a lot of people think if I don't buy meat and don't look, I'll be okay. And a lot of people take that kind of approach, but it doesn't work. Oh, it does to a point mentally, but it'll get you eventually if you're in hot spots. And so, the whole idea is to get one of these, start screening, always start at the bedroom, clean up the bedroom, get the bedroom right, get your sleeping sanctuary sorted, and create a roadmap. And if people are struggling creating a roadmap to creating a better signal to noise ratio in their environment, I can help them. Sometimes I can just have a 10-second phone call with someone and to just confirm something that can help them get them across the line. Then other times I'll talk to someone for 2 hours, and then they'll call me back again. Then there's a lot of people who just look at my content on the Mito Meter website and just work it out for themselves. And but I think if you could buy something like that, a 3-in-1 screening meter, and share it between family members and friends, I think that's the way to go. Educate each other and work together in a community situation or in a family situation where use the meter to help people become more aware of their environment, especially with cell phones. I mean, when you've got your 4G or 5G on, and you've got low coverage, your phone's running at extremely high power levels, and it's going to be taxing on you. And even if you have the phone off, actually putting it in your pocket or down your bra, listening to music, it's got high magnetic fields coming off it. I mean, I had one a sad story. I had a lady ask me to check her house, and I said, because her 13-year-old had a breast cancer and had her breast removed, and just wanted to have her bedroom checked. And I just said to her straight off the bat, said, where did she keep her phone? Oh, top pocket. And I said, I don't need to come to your house. That phone does not go in her pocket. And she goes, but it's off. I said, it doesn't matter. It's still got the magnetic fields. Magnetic fields are horrible. They cause more damage than anything for me in this game. But
Can you
I've got so many
maybe,
stories like that. So many
yeah.
stories.
Yeah, when you say, I really resonate with signal to noise because as I've tried to help people solve health issues from a medical perspective, it's very biochemical.
Turn
Like,
off your
what is
vitamin
this
C.
hormone doing? Yeah, what's this hormone doing? what is that blood marker saying? But as I've studied systems thinking, it's really well, even the old school naturopathic doctors use air bathing, sunbathing. Dr. Father Sebastian Knight, who was a Catholic priest, he was in Germany. He was one of the first like naturopathic doctors. He was grounding himself in the river to cure himself of autoimmune disease. Then he started healing people by having them do wet dew walking outside on the grass. And what I realized is I didn't understand the mechanism. But as we're talking about signal to noise and connection to earth, he was grounding people. He was connecting them to, I guess, is a Schumann resonance the main natural, is it one of the main
Yeah,
natural
8.3 hertz,
frequencies?
whatever it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're talking about sleeping on a tent connected to the ground, I've noticed the same thing personally as I've grounded more, walking outside. I wear earth runners when I can't be barefoot. They those are conductive
Oh, yeah, yeah.
sandals.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I feel like my when I exercise, my soreness levels are much lower. Like if I'm sore, if I tweak an ankle, I
yeah.
I just heal a lot faster if I'm outside grounding. And it's not even all day. It's not even sleeping on the ground. But I notice the difference of just getting outside more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
uh,
super sensitive, so for me, it's just like I can just feel myself discharging straight away when I go outside. Like, because we're dual capacitors,
mm,
we store energy,
yeah.
and um, right now, even me sitting inside, I'm not grounded, and so I'm absorbing all this energy. And I've got equipment where I can actually measure. You can actually listen to the noise going through my body. You can hear the charge and the noise. It's horrendous, right where I am, even though I'm only in one VMs, 1 volts for me, which is about the average voltage most people are sitting in. Um, so yeah, I'm super sensitive, especially when you can measure it. It kind of confirms it. But yeah. Now, if you can't ground yourself, here's another thing. If Because some people are in apartments and it's very difficult to find somewhere to put their feet on grass. You can actually, the cook trays, the aluminium, I don't know, the alloy cook trays you get. Um, if you
The
stand on that,
baking
yeah,
sheets.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
If you stand on that, you'll discharge yourself. It's a similar effect as a grounding.
Wait, even if it's in your apartment,
Yep.
10 stories
Anywhere.
high.
Driving a car, just it'll help a lot of people. It discharges.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, so if you're freaking out, because I mean, grounding, I mean, you can look at your bloods after 40 minutes of grounding. I mean, it's quite incredible difference. So yeah. Um, and then there's clean grounding and dirty grounding. Like so most people who sleep with at home with grounding sheets plugged into their walls,
Yeah.
that's that's like drinking water out of a toilet bowl. Um, yes, the
That's
toilet bowl's.
graphic. Yeah, that's graphic.
Oh,
That'll.
sorry, but okay,
No,
but
no,
that's
I think it gets the point across
oh,
very
oh,
well. Yeah.
well, I tell you what, it's very graphic. If you see, if I take professional gear and show what these people are doing, sure, it feels good because they've reversed their problem of having electric fields building up a charge on their body, but now they've got a charge going through them. And you can hear it through professional equipment, but they don't know that. They just feel better because they've stopped that whole horrible feeling of being in that electric environment. What's more important than sleeping grounded is actually sleeping in an environment with no electric fields. So, all these people rushing out to buy, what do you call it, grounding sheets, when really it's putting the cart before the horse. They should be sort cleaning up the signal to noise ratio problem first. So, um, yeah, killing any power switches or runs going to the bedroom. So eliminating the electric fields in the bedroom so that you've got no electric fields. Now, and once you do that, we'll then do grounding. But these people will have high electric fields, and then they're doing the grounding. It's kind of it's not the correct way of doing it. A lot of people will actually become electrosensitive from doing it because they're in such a bad environment. By grounding themselves, they become more of a target. Like the noise of electricity going through you goes up when you sleep on a grounded sheet. So a lot of people hurt themselves quite badly when they use grounded sheets. Um,
So
this so this is
maybe you can define the types of non-native EMF that might be in someone's bedroom.
okay. So you got your RF, so your
Okay,
microwave, your Wi-Fi, and your phones and gadgets. If you leave things on, I mean,
like
I've got
Bluetooth.
my watches off. Yeah, yeah, all
Yeah.
that. That's radio. And then you've got electric fields, which comes off the wiring. And even if your switches are turned off, your light switches are turned off, the power's still going through it. The fields are still there. Doesn't change. So you got the electric fields, and then you got magnetic fields. Now, magnetic fields, a lot of people won't have magnetic field problems, but if you live anywhere near power infrastructure, you'll have you need to check your magnetic fields,
So the
especially if you
magnetic field, if I recall, is that because there's a current running along a wire, it creates a
yeah,
magnetic field, right? Because there's electricity, the flow of the electrons, right? The potential, like there's
yep,
voltage, different flow
yep,
of electron, and then from my physics understanding is like you can create a magnetic field from that
yeah.
from electricity flowing
You can
through a
create
wire.
electric field. You can create electric field through magnetic field, or vice versa.
Got it.
A good way to look at it is actually the magnetic field is actually the feminine expression, and the electric field is the masculine
Hmm.
uh, expression, spiritually speaking. And it's like a dance, like it's a picture of ballet dance. The ballet dance is male and female spinning around. It's very similar to that. One follows the other, and it's when you actually see the two working together, it is beautiful. It's the magnetic field as a shape creates it's the shape. Um,
It's the arc,
uh,
right? From
yeah,
negative to positive, like the Earth, right? North Pole, South Pole, and then there are the
that's
fields
the field lines.
that we
Yeah,
illustrate.
and even electric lines. You can actually follow electric creates its own lines as well.
Got it.
It's almost like a monster. It's alive. Um, but the funny thing is, you can get 10 electrical engineers or 10 gurus from different backgrounds and ask them what electric field or magnetic field is, and go right down to the deepest detail, and they'll argue. I don't think we really know, really, at the
That's the
deepest
fascinating
level.
thing about electricity that I've realized. We use it, but we don't actually.
If
There's so
we
much
really
we don't
understood
know.
it, if we really knew what it was, we would realize energy is free, and we wouldn't have electricity because our houses would be running on free energy. Because and this is technology has been kept uh, shelved. So, but I don't break it down too much, getting into what is a magnetic field. People know what a magnet is. People know how magnets work. People, if you don't know what electric field is, put your tongue on a 9-volt battery, and you'll soon know. You get a tingling noise, it's a tingling feeling.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, going down to the nitty gritty, I I still, even most months, I'll run into someone, we'll have a debate over exactly a magnetic field, electric field, and the ether and everything. And I'm really just surprised on how many really knowledgeable people have got different views of what it is. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. Everyone's got their own perspective of what it is and how it works. Uh, and how it's taught in universities is quite different to how other European engineers might see it. So I don't, I'll keep it simple. But the magnetic fields, like I'm the magnetic field now because I've got power lines um, out the window, um, like out there. I mean, that's just the road out there, and there's power lines around every street, and at 100 meters and 200 meters, we've got transmission power lines. So we've got thousands and thousands of volts of electricity. So what people don't understand is that's going through the home. So I've got about what 50, 60 nanotesla, so it's zero point 0.6 at the moment. There's no electricity with cables within 5 meters of me. So, but that's coming from the power grid. and that will go up to 3 milligauss in the summer under a heavy load. Um,
So for
and
reference, in terms of, so help people understand the magnitude, right? Because I've looked at the Building Biology Institute, they come up with standards for sleep environments.
we've got fantastic standards, yeah.
Okay, so my understanding is their standards are much more conservative compared to, let's say, the is it the what the organization that who
Oh,
does the ratings for safety for like OSHA, for work environments, for the FCC, for
the
example.
yeah,
Uh,
the alphabet groups.
yeah.
Um,
So maybe give
because
people a sense of like how do we understand the magnitude, right? Because I walk around with this. RF is inescapable, is what I've determined. Like, unless I live in some type of shielded box, right? So
yeah.
maybe just give a sense of like the magnitude, what's considered ideal for the through the
So
building
so
biology institute and what is not.
what I've got there, right? That's I mean that's acceptable for adults, like up to 100. So if you're up to around 1 milligauss, 100 nanoteslas, that's fine.
Well, like while
Short
you're
term,
awake, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
I'm okay. It's just gone up, just approaching 100, 1 milligauss. Over 1 milligauss, they say once I go beyond 2 red lights, they're saying like now, pregnant mothers shouldn't be in that kind of situation for prolonged time. Now in sleeping environments, it should be right down the green. So at night, the grid drops down. So I'm better, but it's not ideal. But if you're looking for a home, you can take this out, and if you on a side street on the side of a suburb, sometimes you can find little dead end streets that are quite low. So, and this, of course, will record for 12 hours as well. But so that's going up to approaching 100, which is about right for winter. It goes up to 300, 3 milligauss in the summer. And anything over three can cause, has got known effects. A lot of leukemia is caused over 3 milligauss for prolonged exposure. Um, so, I mean, that's magnetic fields, low frequency magnetic fields. Then, of course, you have electric fields, and then that's caused by your electrical cables running in your walls, and even running over conductive surfaces, like even some cases where there's high humidity, you've got wood or which is semiconductive, or certain materials that semiconductors. So you've got electric field going up the walls. I've got some photographs there of me measuring my daughter's bedroom where you can see that it's quite conductive, the wall. And that's why you should really have your bed at least 200 to 300 millimeters off. So about 6 inches, 5 inches off the wall to avoid that. Because you've even got sarking, I don't know what you call it in America, where you got the silver paper behind the wall to stop the moisture coming in. That stops the Wi-Fi coming in as well. Sorry, the cell phone tower signals coming in, but also keeps the Wi-Fi in. But that's also conductive. You've got power cables running past it and jumping onto the silver behind the walls, the sarking. So that's all conductive. And you can see that when you put these meters up there in electric field mode, LFE, it'll go up because there's electric fields there. Um,
what about
so
mattress springs? Like, because I've heard, people have sometimes they have metal bed frames,
yeah,
and many mattresses have metal springs within them. So
we
can
avoid
that be like,
metal.
so can that
No,
jump, like the conductivity of the mattress? Does that, the dirt? I guess correct my language if I'm not using it correctly. So that you can create a field from your bed that's maybe the dirty electricity could be.
okay, what I first learned in the first 12 months was how magnetic fields jump onto stuff. It's quite amazing. Even electric fields. It conducts. Like I can put an Ethernet cable 1 meter away from a power cable running the same length. So a 10-meter cable, right? Ethernet cable. And it's not connected to anything, just one run, but it's 1 meter away from a power line and the wall. That will have almost identical electric fields coming off it, as the power cable with the cable going through it, with the power running through it. And when I show people, they just don't get it. They go, it's not connected to anything. How's it so high? Jump conduction. So you see that happening in a lot of places where there's metal, and of course metal spring mattresses, especially the old ones, that the frame and the springs are metal and they're all connected. They're horrendous for um, electric fields, and they create a charge builds up and they become magnetized as well. I remember actually having I had a 10-year-old spring mattress and with coils and everything, and I put a ground on it overnight, and it had it was a sunk one, it was sunken because it was old, the springs are gone, but because I grounded overnight, the memory took it back as if it was brain like day one. All the springs had gone back out hard just from grounding it, and the magnetism had gone, and the springs came back, and it was comfortable to sleep on again. Then I grabbed, and so I used that mattress. I slept on that for a number of years, but in a room with no electric fields and with that grounded to the ground stake outside, worked amazingly. So, I mean, and they use them in World War II for antennas, but you could actually use it for healing if done the right way. Like, if you're sleeping in a bedroom with no electric fields and it's grounded and you sleep on that, you'll notice a difference.
Wow.
Even with the sheets on top.
So, like I guess the lesson is like you have to test your wiring in your house because it it may
Yeah,
not be an
yeah.
issue, but it's one thing to be aware
It is.
of.
It's an issue. Like I don't think I'll ever find a bedroom that doesn't have electric field issues, unless it's a lot of the wealthy homes where they've got big homes and high quality commercial grade electrical installations and big thick concrete walls. They usually measure up really well, concrete floors. But the smaller the home, the worse. Tiny homes are the worst home you can get because all the wires are so close. But
Hmm.
the smaller the bedroom, 3 by 3 meters, 4 by 4 meters, you can't really hide from electrical um, signals. The bigger the room, the better because you can move the bed away from the walls. But uh, the first thing I'll do if I go into, say, a mother's bedroom where the kid's going to be, where the cot is I'll disconnect the power cables going anywhere near that cot, so there's just a zone, or even if someone's a ground, I'll create an area where there's no electric fields and make sure it's all good. And I don't focus on grounding. I don't do grounding as a practice as far as for customers because you really need a meter. If you're going to ground, you really need a professional meter that measures down to zero point 0.1 VMs. You need to go beyond this to do it properly. This is to keep you out of trouble and make sure you're not in a hot spot. But this is like a $800 meter that does electric fields and magnetic fields, but it goes way below that. Um, and if you want to get grounding right, right, it's like water. If you want to get really good water, you need extensive testing. And there's a whole level of how hard you can go when it comes to good quality water, like producing good, clean water. And it's no different with grounding. There's kind of different levels of grounding of how far you want to go as far as because there's grounding and there's grounding. Just like you can drink water, but there's water and there's water. You can drink water out of a toilet bowl, and if you're dehydrated, and that water's the clean and the toilet bowl's clean, and you just flush, that water's going to be good for you if you're dehydrated. But I mean, it's better to have water from a spring, natural spring. So it's no different with grounding. Your natural spring is sleeping on the ground, and then you work backwards from there, and then you look at your signal to noise ratio with that, or do screening with that. I mean, this has got a grounding pad on the back so that when you measure the electric fields, um, let's see if I'm in any at the moment. Uh, I've got, yeah, how many have you got? Oh, you're better than me.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, you're,
Um,
no,
I,
yeah, You've got concrete floors?
No, I'm on the second floor right now. What's interesting, I have a earthing mat on my desk. So I've been meaning to ask you this. Like if I've been playing around with the conduction with the
Look, I'm quite
like
jealous.
it's like I'm if I touch the mat, it increases. So how do I interpret this? So no hand on my mat. So I've been thinking and I'm putting my hand now, if you're listening to this, on my earthing mat, which is grounded into the neutral in a plug. And I'm holding the mitometer and the conductive pad. So when I'm not touching it, it's like no lights, one green,
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
one
because you're a conductor. So the electrons are
going through
charging
me.
through. Yeah,
So is that not, how do I
and you can
interpret?
hear it. If I got a super e-smog spy on and got you to touch the body contact antenna, you would hit when you touch that grounding pad, you'll hear your body just screaming, like going
So
from
is it
all the.
better for me to not use this mat?
Okay, when I used to work on systems racks in really bad electrical environments, and my heart was giving out, my body was giving out. I couldn't do it anymore because I've been working those environments for too long with hundreds of power cables coming next to me. I would rotate between grounding and not grounding for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So my body's got a different type of charge to try and get to finish the job. But if I stay grounded, then it'll cause different issues. My heart start hurting. So I stop grounding, and then a different effect would come in because repetition is actually what causes most of the biological issues. um, but in your situation, like say, I've got my office has got a concrete floor, so if I put my feet on the ground, I've got high electric fields because I'm a conductor. The charged electrons are running home to the least path of resistance, which is me because I'm a dual capacitor absorbing energy, and it's going. I'm going to go through David and hit the ground running through his feet. But then when I take my feet off or put my shoes on, it it drops because it can't use me as a path to ground. So there's even one technician said to me, "Oh, David, there's no such thing as positive or negative. Stop talking about negative and positive with me, please. Stop. There's only a charge and a discharge, okay? No, 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 stop. Don't. No, no, no such thing as negative. There is only a charge, So it's funny I get these conversations, right?
So is that
And he's
correct? Do you agree with that perspective?
well, it is. If you look at it it is correct in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
negative and positive is real because I mean, but it is a charge and discharge. Um, so so if you look at a signal to noise ratio and burn that into your brain, and then look at it as electricity as a charge and discharge, same kind of thing. Don't worry about negative or positive. So even frequencies, you can just get into a charge and discharge, and that's why it's important to ground and walk with your bare feet. And even when you're walking, like that charge and discharge action. Um, it's a cycle. So, yeah. So anyway, it gets
So
really exciting. It gets really cool when you kind of see it all working. You start because when you go for a walk on the beach, you feel really great, and you've got the sun, and then you start measuring the sun, and then measuring artificial light, and measuring the ground, and measuring electric fields in your home. It really is quite amazing that we have allowed ourselves to go so far wrong and pedal backwards for so long. And it's very difficult to kind of because we're so addicted to technology and live in our screens. It's very hard to pedal backwards and that's why I'm in the middle of a digital detox at the moment, doing it for 28 days, even though I'm breaking protocol here.
appreciate that. Yeah.
But it's very much worth it because you're a good guy.
Thank you.
uh, but it's very hard to pedal backwards, and that's why I'm doing the digital detox. And what I'm learning is I'm trying to teach myself how can I do business using the least amount of technology and screen time. So I'm doing more work on the remarkable because I want to do more writing, more and less writing and just shorten and simplify everything. So I've only done it on day 3. I might add a few days because I've done a bit of work with you, but um, it'll help me. I think once you disconnect from technology and spend more time with nature, the less time you're on technology. After 14, I've done about 3 digital detoxes for a month. And about day 10, between day 10 and day 14, you go into a super, you hit this gear where your brain goes, it finds a capacity there that you never knew was there. And you start seeing and realizing stuff. Uh, and it's like you become a supercomputer. And that's what I want to hit. And once you get to day 10 and day 14, you can start processing problems, even if it's EMF, how you're using technology. It's just like pulling the lens back and seeing your life from a way better perspective than where we are at the moment, stuck in this digital world. And I think a digital detox and managing how much time we focus on digital, spending time in a digital environment is part of the EMF process as well, because it fries our brain. Like I can't do Telegram. What do you call it? Instagram. I just can't do it. People go, Dave, you've got to go to Telegram. Instagram. That's where it's at. But I can't because I can't scroll. Like I haven't had a phone for like 10 years. So I get my wife's phone. I'm scrolling through um, Instagram and they're all vertical videos. And and I feel like I'm going to have an epilepsy fit or something because I mean, how do people just watch these short videos? Like it's just so bad for your brain. And even, this is why I'm having this chat with you with a window here with natural light coming in, and I'm constantly looking out at the trees to keep that balance. And as I was saying to you before the other day, in extreme sports, what we focus on is where we go. So, when you're snowboarding or whatever, you look where you want to go, and that's where you go. And I think with EMF and our digital lives, we need to refocus and balance our digital time with analog and natural EMF. So get that whole signal to noise ratio thing happening as well, because even thoughts are measurable. They're magnetic. I can actually measure those. And it's no different about signal to noise. You can have coherent thoughts, which actually aren't measurable because that's the default. It's when you have negative thoughts that it creates magnetic fields. And so anyway, there's a whole balance. It's everything comes down to balance. It's like you with your work. We know really what we're doing wrong, but we're too addicted to what we eat and what we do. Like I'm on Wi-Fi at the moment. It's 5 gigahertz, so it doesn't affect me as much as 2.5, and it's only like running at 50 microwatts, so it's not bad. But so it's about finding balance, and yeah, I think the digital detox is the only way for me as a consultant to kind of find another gear or another way to improve a way we can operate without getting up in the morning and turning a phone on or the screen, moving to a television, then going to your desktop computer, and just this cycle of going on the internet. Uh, because I think that's going to be part of EMF mitigation now as well, is your screen time and time on digital. Because if people are spending 80 or 90% of their awake time on screens or on the internet or doing digital stuff, that's where the world's going to go. And that's probably why we've got so many data centers being built, because we're driving it, we're paying for it, we're demanding it. People are up in arms about it, but we ordered it. People paying using cloud. I don't like using clouds for anything. Well, I've sent you some stuff from using clouds, but we've got to be careful what we're building. So that's where I'm at the moment. I can help people create healthy EMF environments, but then there's our habits, like breaking bad habits. I don't, because I got to a stage where I just realized I was just getting up in the morning and it's just all screens to the time I went down to bed, and all my family members, wife, my son, daughters moved out, but they'll be doing the same thing, and it's driving me a bit nuts. And so had to pull the pin and do it. I hadn't done a digital detox for like 4 years, 5 years. A lot harder now because we're more dependent on digital means. And then you got AI coming into the mix. We can become more dependent on AI, and I love AI, but once again, it's a balance thing. And I think so. Everything's about balance, and I am concerned about the balance of how much time we are spending on screens. And it's because I mean I can point. I don't care how. If you've got a non-flicker screen, um, it doesn't matter. There's so much negative energy coming off a screen that you can't measure with normal meters. Like these meters can't measure what's really coming off the screen. As far as the my spectrum analyzers can with a light sensor on it, it can pick up the frequencies we're not aware of. But this natural light will balance it out. If you're in a pitch black room with no natural light, it causes massive amounts of damage, even if it's flicker free. So it's so important to have natural light next to the screen. If you're gonna have an office, have your window, or put the screen in front of a window, so you've got a window behind the screen. So that's what I'm all about as well. Is when I'm looking at someone's environment, I'm looking at the light, because when you start measuring the light and the frequencies in the light, the sun's beautiful. When you listen to the sun through a super E smog spion, it just sounds like the ocean. It's beautiful. It's identical to the ocean. It's a lovely sound. And then you come into a house. I don't care if you've got LED lights, non-flicker LED lights. I don't care what health guru lighting you've got there. I will show you noise. Um,
Does that
that's why I
apply
love.
to incandescents as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's run
But
by electricity.
yeah, but
So,
incandescent running on a pure 12-volt battery or DC is beautiful. So uh, yeah, if you take a 12-volt DC light and just run it straight to a battery, it's no different than looking at a fire. Um, it's actually interesting if you listen to a fire and slow it down to 100 times. It's like being in a forest, listening to a forest. Um, so I used to record a lot of EMFs and then slow it down and listen to it. And fire, the sun, it's all just natural. It's beautiful. It's even when you slow down crickets and insects, there's this music playing. So and as soon as you go into a home or just a screen in a dark environment, it's quite toxic. It's quite toxic. You can measure the frequencies going through your body, or through into your eyes, regardless of what you're using. But as I was saying before, a couple of days ago, it, it's like how many layers of the onion do you want to undo? I mean, I can go as deep as you want, and that's why a lot of people don't want me in their house anymore, because they know that people who know me know what I've done, what I'm about, know that I can go very deep, even behind what's coming out of the screen as far as entities or the geopathic stress. I mean, I can actually even literally, if you put a Harry Potter show, hit play, or I can measure a ley line popping into your living room. And so stuff even just coming out of it, this is why you got to be careful what you even watch or listen to or hear on TVs. But like you're about solving problems. That's what we're both about. So and sometimes in our field we need to go a little bit out left or right to kind of work out what's going on. And I tend to go out very much left and very much right sometimes. And I love experimenting. So I don't read books, but I'm constantly measuring and learning and measuring stuff and experimenting. So that's how I learn. And but yeah, I just want to, yeah, I'm just concerned about the whole our digital lifestyles, because I was doing this digital detox and I was thinking I wouldn't mind just getting a record player just to hear, because we did a test. I think it was Marantz with the guy from Japan, the main guy from Marantz. I've got his name. And we were to demonstrate the new super audio CD on like really expensive equipment. And we had the amazing the new super audio CD, which is clearer than CD. And people going, well, because we listened to a CD and we listened to the super audio CD. It was amazing. And then we put on just a record of the same track. And it's like the room went still. It's just, you can't put your finger on why it just sounds natural. See, the digital stuff was rubbish. It just can't compete with the record, a good quality record, analog. It's just, people looking around the room going, it's just this, you can't beat record. And so, this is what I think we are with digital. We can't let digital overrun our lives. And it's a signal to noise ratio issue. It messes, just having even that much content going through us and information is noise. And that's why I like this meter, because it just keeps it simple. 3 modes, just screen your environment. If you're going to do anything, you go out and buy some professional gear if you've got some money, but you're not going to be able to take that around with you. And you find a lot more with this because you've always got it on you. But anyway,
I appreciate what you're saying here because you're not just saying because once you go down, I've gone down some of the different EMF rabbit holes and listened to certain people. It always becomes like trying to eliminate or shield your way out of the problem. But my intuition, just like you, is I don't want more. I don't want to just live in a digital world. I feel better in an analog world. Like I don't want to use a better phone. I just want to use my phone less. I don't want to use TikTok
yeah,
or
well,
Instagram better, safer. It's like, no, I just like even if I did it, even if I got a phone with some of those e-ink screens, I still would not want to be scrolling up and down in black and white. I think it'd make it harder. It might make it quote unquote healthier, but I'm still in engaging in that digital world just in a slightly it's like you said drinking clean toilet water as opposed to fresh spring water from a natural source. So what I'm hearing through this conversation is we can screen our environment, remove the big sources, but always remember that
yeah.
we can reconnect to nature, go outside, do things with our hands, move our bodies.
I miss face-to-face time with
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
like,
see people in person, connect, on a human level.
you just get the basics right. So, but um, as I said, it's just how many layers of the onion do you want to peel back? But I find with customers, they'll clean up their bedroom, they'll do something, and it'll change their life. They'll sleep better. They'll find another gear, and they want to do more. They want more of what they just had, of what they just got. So then they'll start measuring other things, and they'll just slowly just start cleaning up more and more. And sometimes they'll clean up some things that won't make much difference, and then they'll find another big difference. They'll remove some product from the kitchen, like an overhead fluorescent light, and replace it with a DC incandescent or something, just a healthier light, and notice a huge difference. I mean, I prefer to use candles. I've got DC red lighting here running off DC, but because lighting's a huge one. Um, but anyway, it's a process, and I've got a Antonia. She's staying with us at the moment. She'll be she's going to watch this. I wonder if she'll make it this far. Antonia, did you make it this far? Um, and she's 24, so she's um doesn't know what I'm talking about. She's fit and healthy, has no concerns about using AirPods or her phone. It's not a problem. She'll probably find this interesting. Um, but uh, for her, when you because I used to be like that. I mean, I used to live next to a substation, a power substation. You could throw like 10 meters away. There's a big box the size of a car. And I used to sleep like 20 meters away from it. It was horrendous. Everyone who came around said, man, I can actually feel that thing. Like no one did not feel the power there. And then of course I've worked in systems racks and on roofs and electronics, and you eventually just wore myself down. And I remember getting my first Bluetooth headset around 2010 and felt felt funny sensation came in my head. But then just slowly I started feeling more and more like dirty. Then I started feeling dirty electricity. I couldn't feel Wi-Fi, but then I realized I was feeling sick, riding past cell phone towers. My heart rate would always go up. I wouldn't know why. I had to put my stand down in my motorbike every time I was at a certain set of traffic lights so I didn't fall over. And then I realized that it was the cell phone towers. Um, so, and there's a lot of people, of course, who are not affected at all, like my flatmate. And then you get some guys who are even my age who can put their finger in a 240 volt, 110 volt socket, like direct, and have the power running through them and not be bothered by it. There's a number of these people. They can even put electricity, put the charge on it through a cable, put a sausage on it, and ground it, and cook a sausage with them being the conduct, and not be affected by it. So there's people who can, and so my argument as well, if there's people who can do this kind of stuff, like light a light bulb with electricity running through them, their fingers, live, AC, then there has to be other people on the other scale who are super sensitive to it, like me. And especially people with soft skin. I've noticed people with softer skin, um, and more softer kind of caring type of people tend to be more sensitive. And if you get your typical farmer who's really rough as guts, dry as skin, tough hands, they're not sensitive to much at all. But sensitive new age guys like us, yeah, we get knocked around a bit more. I mean, you're young, you're a lot younger than me, so you've got a head start. I mean, I'm still bouncing off walls at your age, but I don't bounce off walls like I do now. I mean, I don't bounce off walls like I did, in my 40s. Um, and I put that down to poor choice of work, working environments. And the other thing is, when we were children, we lived in a really bad situation with high dirty electricity. And, we spent probably 5 years where we'd get up on an average of 10 times a night. And I would put my fist through a wall from anger, from not being able to sleep, or arguing over who was going to sleep next. Pushing my fist through a fire. I remember driving to work or eat, and the signs would turn into a person, start running because I had no sleep for so long, because we had so
Or
many problems.
hallucinating. Yeah.
Yeah, or my plate would go square round because I was pushing myself so hard to work. So, and I didn't know back in the time. That was way back in 2006, 2005, 2004, and we were living in next to power lines and really bad power infrastructure, right? Really high magnetic fields. So high because once you have a 300 nanotesla, 3 milligauss, you get hauntings that's quite often. So we had ghosts there as well. The daughter had a ghost experience, and I didn't believe them back then, but soon worked it out. So the house was haunted as well, but it was, we actually had to go back to New Zealand for family support because it got that bad. But if I can save that pain for a mother who's listening to this now, I will. And I can help them. That's why when it comes to mothers, I'll go the extra mile, to help them create a good environment, because I'd love to be able to turn back time and just not have gone through that. And it's all because of a bad choice of where we chose to live. An intersection with transmission lines going down both streets, like only 30 meters away. And then high dirty electricity levels. And I've helped a lot of mums, and to see the benefits is quite incredible. I mean, I can go quite deep into stories, but some of them are quite horrific. So I'm not going, it can get quite heavy. Um, But people listening to this, there will be people listening to this who think, yeah, no, I think I'm pretty good. But there'll be people listening to this who go, oh, no, I'm thinking I'm one of those people. And or if there's, I love how mums when they're pregnant, how they organise things. They get like they really their intuition hits another gear, and they know they've got to do certain things. Um, that's when I get contacted a lot from um, mums who just want to make sure that everything's okay at home. So, as I was saying to you, I'm all about mums, looking after mums mainly. I mean, more than 90% of my customers are mothers. Um, I will deal with blokes sometimes, but they're usually doing it. They're doing the whole screening, EMF screening thing because their wives asked them to do it. But yeah, it's difficult. Do you have children?
I do not. No.
Okay.
Nephews.
I feel relaxed just hearing that. It can be very difficult, right? So having children is hard work. It doesn't matter if you've got money or if you don't have money. Raising children, especially in this age, is difficult. Um, and if you can do it in a good environment, it's just going to make it that much more easy. I have seen relationships transform overnight. I've seen marriages saved just by cleaning up an environment. Because with bad EMF environments, high electric fields and dirty electricity, it's like having an ugly person in your room. So, when someone with a shitty attitude comes in your room and they just ruin your space, you just it's like they ruin your day. You're in a good spot, and then just boom, you're down 10 steps. Well, that's what dirty electricity and electric fields do to an environment. Um, and so, yeah, that's why I do what I do, um, because I know that it makes such a huge effect. Just the smallest changes, it's crazy just how small a change you can make in someone's life and transform it, and just transform their life just from doing one thing. But anyway,
I
so
believe it.
that and it's a difficult job sometimes because I've got memories of mothers' faces looking at me when I've told them they've got to have to move because they want me to come around and shield at home, and they live 100 meters from a cell phone tower. I said it's going to be probably about $60,000 or something, 100,000 if you want to bring it down to building biology levels, and even then the RF's on the ground. So the ground, if your grounding solution is not going to work because there's RF on the ground. It gets too hard sometimes in some jobs. So when you got to tell a wife and husband that they've got to move from their multi-million-dollar new home they've just bought on a waterfront, they're not happy. I mean, I've had a few guys want to punch me out on site because obviously because I just tell people how it is. That's another reason why people don't like dealing with me because I'll just come out straight out, say how it is, and look them straight in the face and just say, especially the blokes. I'm very upfront with blokes, um, and because a lot of them just don't believe it. Even though their son's having blood noses and his wife's got headaches and son can't think and struggling. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of tough situations, and that's when you go out on site. So I take my hat off to all building biologists or people who spend time doing EMF mitigation in homes. It's ugly job if you're doing it right and you're not tickling people's ears and telling fibs. So, once again, if I'm saying that, I protect myself. I don't get beaten up um, by husbands not wanting the truth. Um, so, yeah, I think this day and age, you really need to become self-educated on EMFs to some extent, at least to a screening level. You don't have to become a building biologist or a certified whatever. You just need to get to that screening level of understanding EMF screening. And it's a very key word that actually a mate of mine, Jason Borden-Smith, introduced to the game, who actually helped finance um, this Mito Meter build. Um, yeah, he's he was a good friend of ours. He passed away, unfortunately. But
Can you repeat his name?
Jason Borden Smith, he
Jason
wrote a
Bourne.
book Into the Dark
Okay. All right.
about EMFs and blue light. Um, but yeah, we worked together. We both had a passion for helping mums, and
Hmm.
it was our main underlining driver. So yeah, I don't think I think every person needs access to a screening meter like this. So even if a group of friends buy one together, um, at least they can screen each other's environments and family environments. This day and age, you can't afford to buy a property or rent a property without looking at it, measuring it first. Now, of course, a lot of the times you can go onto maps and look at the antenna maps and look at Google Earth and work out what power lines are where. And every time someone buys a meter, I look at the address and I'll actually mention if they've got issues where it's going, give them a heads up. Um,
Yeah, you mentioned you looked at mine address. You kind of took a peek
oh,
for
down the
me.
road from it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have any overhead power lines, so you'd have no magnetic field issues where you are.
Luckily, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a good environment, and you've got a better environment there than me. You've got no magnetic field issues, and the electric fields are good for an office. So what you only R problem is you've got probably RF that's self-induced.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't everyone? I mean,
Like me.
you can see everyone's, I mean, our phones, the router, our neighbors' routers, everyone's got a router.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people look at their Wi-Fi list and go, "Oh no, that's really bad," but they don't realize that a lot of those signals, most meters can't even detect. So a lot of people think their problem is their all those Wi-Fi signals on their phone or on their MacBook. But if you measure them, they're so far below. A lot of them are so far below building biology levels that it's a joke. So they've got this fear, and then a lot of people use the Safe and Sound Pro 2 to measure the Wi-Fi, and that measures 4 times higher than what they're seeing. So you've got people saying, "Oh no, I've got 10 or 20 microwatts from my neighbor's Wi-Fi," but they could divide that by 4 to get the true amount. So um, anyway, and then a lot of the time it's like one lady I went to see who wanted me to help her reduce the wireless radiation from the Wi-Fi that her children were using. She had a cell phone tower down the road, and it was like 1,000 times higher than her Wi-Fi. Like on the spectrum analyzer, it was like a mountain compared to her little Wi-Fi units in her house. I said, I walked out the door and said, "Don't worry about your Wi-Fi. Just leave it on. It makes no difference because you've got such extreme levels from that cell phone tower." She's up around 10, 20,000 microwatts, and she's worried about 50 or 100 microwatts here and there. So a lot of people who are concerned about Wi-Fi don't realize that it's a needle in a haystack compared to other problems, but you don't know until you measure. So, I mean, this has got a sound mode, so you can actually hear if there's a cell phone tower nearby. You can tell what kind of signal we're listening to. But yeah, it's important to quantify. Like most of the time when you go to a home, people say, "Oh, I've got this problem. I need you to come and check this." And 9 times out of 10, it won't be what the problem won't be what they thought it was. And it's always like, "What? It's not that. It's this." Oh, right, okay. And it's fascinating how a lot of people watching this will think they've got this problem with EMFs, but 9 times out of 10, what they think is their problem, like 5G or whatever, it's not. It's something completely different for their main problem.
Yeah. I think that's what I experience, using the Mito Meter. So what really prompted me was there was a blackout, neighborhood-wide blackout for a lot of Seattle. Was the power was out for a few days, so lights were out, cell phone was out, power was out, sleeping in pitch black. I had the best sleep of my life that I could remember up to that point,
Yeah.
and it was like, what just happened? But I realized it all the noise was gone. It was an unintentional experiment. So
Yeah,
that
and
got me thinking.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's happened to a number of people who've gone to countries where they have a number of blackouts. They
Yeah.
couldn't work out. They worked out that when they had blackouts, they were just sleeping like a baby. And a lot of people work out how bad the environments are when the power does go out. Yeah, I'm a completely different person around outside of this environment. Completely different. Takes me 3 days to kind of go back to normal though. So
I
if I
think
go to the beach for 3 days,
yeah.
I'm bouncing off walls.
In a good way. Ba-
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, like
Uh,
energy wise, not
yeah,
not like
yes.
ADHD or neuro. When you say
No,
bouncing off the walls, I hear mothers describing children that way, bouncing off the walls, but
uh,
more not quite the manic bouncing off walls, but more bounding. I don't know.
yeah, I guess I do go manic though when I've got energy, kite
Okay, different
surfing,
personality wise, constitution
yep,
wise.
fast bikes. Yeah,
But I wanted to, as you were talking about how this can change lives, I
yeah.
keep thinking about how much time is wasted when people are sick. Like if my brain is not working, I lose. I remember losing. You can lose like days, weeks, months, right? People who are suffering from anxiety, depression.
Yep.
It's it's the cost of that illness is wasting life. Like life energy is gone. And I think what I've noticed, there's so many more people who seem to be stuck in that state. We call it a chronic disease, but
I feel like I'm stuck in that. I feel like I'm stuck there just living this environment, but we can't find a better rental at the moment.
uh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wasting time.
yeah, yeah.
It's affecting me mentally.
Mm,
The traffic fumes, the high electric fields, because it's conductive. Um, it's old wood, hardwood, and it's conductive. So it's got high electric fields, it's got dirty electricity from the homes around us. I've got filters, but it's got high magnetic fields. And so it's exactly the same issue that you're talking about. I'm wasting away. If I was living in a better environment and I'm thriving to find a better house at the moment, I'll be so much more productive. And I look at you and I can see how charged you are. And I was thinking, man, I wouldn't mind some of that. And I was just thinking, I need to get into a different property. So yeah, um, and I can see why you're bouncing off walls, if I can use that term, um,
in a good way.
because yeah, you're in a great environment. You've got it right, and it's really hard to get it right. Uh, there's a rental crisis where I am. It's really difficult just to find a rental, let alone a good one.
Mm.
So um, we're not in a position to buy a property. And then when you go into the bush, you've got to drive so many k's to get to your job. For my wife and my husband, for my wife and my son. And then if I go and move to the country, you've got what they call NBN, National Broadband cell phone towers, because instead of running fiber optics to different communities, they're using towers instead. So when you go into the country, they've got these super powerful towers that go much further than city ones. And you can be in the most remote area in Australia and just get smashed by a tower that is designed to go 40 kilometers, which is what, 27, 20, 30 miles. Um, so, moving out even into the country isn't necessarily a solution. But you're right. I mean, it's wasting time. It's a time living in a disease state is just years wasting away.
Yeah, I studied economics in undergrad, and the concept that stuck with me was opportunity cost. There, for every decision or indecision we make, there is a trade-off. It's no matter what you do.
Compromise. Yeah, I
Yeah,
call it compromise. How many
yeah,
levels of
compromise.
compromise?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
when you say
every day
that,
we yeah.
yeah, if you when you say, when you're telling me about the blokes who want to stick their head in the sand and not hear the truth, that is that is to me the trade-off of not knowing the truth is greater than being, that ignorance is bliss state.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
I do not think that is bliss.
Okay, I've got to be honest, okay.
Yeah.
Cypher from the Matrix movie eating a steak, going, I just want to
Yeah.
eat a
Yeah.
steak.
I know that scene. Yeah.
I'm where he is at the moment, okay? Because
Mm.
just uh I've given into the system. You get to the point where you get tired of fighting. So that's why I started the digital detox, because you get to the point where you don't want to fight. It's just easier to give in, watch Netflix, just get
Yeah.
indulged in social media and lose yourself online in a digital world. It's I got lost in that. I call it the um, I just want my steak state. So like Cypher in the Matrix, he wants us to go back in the Matrix and be rich and eat steak. And a lot of people are at that point right now. Even watching this, uh, they're immersed. They're immersed in in the digital world, and cutting ties with it is like an alcoholic saying, I'm stopping." It, pedaling backwards in the digital world with this kind of addiction, and we even rely on it for our work so much. Even with AI, with AI, it's going to be just such another level of relying on tech for work and income. Like, most people can't live without a cell phone. Uh, uh, this it's just as difficult as cleaning up your EMF environment for some people. It's not an easy road. Like, living a healthy life is not an easy road. Buying organic food, um, you know, there's not much easy about living a healthy lifestyle this day and age. But I hope I see a change in that, but at the moment, with the cost of living, um, just the state of the food, uh, it's difficult for a lot of people, because I've always my heart's always gone out to the underdog, for those who can't afford things. I mean, I've been always been surrounded by very wealthy people, extremely wealthy people, and VIPs. Um, but my heart always goes out to the needy. It's kind of like a Jesus thing, I guess. Because as a systems integrator, as I was saying before, your weakest link is always going to be a problem in your system for electronics, smart home or big home. Whatever the weakest system, whatever the weakest link is, I'll know what it is in the home. And I always try and work on it. And it's the same in society. Um, and so just living healthy, eating well, creating a healthy environment, it's a job, and you need professionals like yourself and me for guidance. But some people just won't want to listen. Um, but like you, um, I'm here for those who are seeking for help. I'm not interested in going out and preaching and warning people anymore. I mean, I used to go door knocking. I'll drive past my motorbike if someone's got a new installation of solar on their house. I'll go knock on their door and leave a book about how bad dirty electricity is and what they're installing, and say I need to install a filter. I used to try and warn the world. I wanted to save the world. That was back in 2012, 2013. Door knocking, literally stop at anyone's house and go, "You're going to have health problems." I'm not that guy anymore. I only help people who come to me who are seeking help. Um, so, it's good. But that's how keen I was at trying to help people. Um, of course, I used to go to prayer groups many years ago, 10, 12 years ago, and we'll pray over sick people and help sick people. And I've always been, as I said, even when I was a kid, I used to help hang around people who were in need, street kids or whatever, and try and help them. So I've always had a passion for, even my grandfather used to just always help people, prisoners, work in the orchard. I think it just runs in the family. We like to reach out to the needy. And for me, I think mums of this age are the most needing people. I couldn't imagine bringing up a child in this. But like, my daughter has a baby. She probably will. Don't know how much help she'll want to accept from me. Um, but yeah, they're the most. I feel like they're the most needing people this day and age, to create better men. If in order to have good men in this world, you need good mums. So that's my focus, uh, is helping mums do the best job they can by placing them in the right environment. And they know this. As soon as they get pregnant, it just blows me away how well that they organise themselves to make sure the baby gets all the right needs. So, um, yeah, if there's any mums out there watching this, reach out if you got any questions. Just email me at david@blakes.com.au. That's
Yeah.
my business email, and uh, my heart goes out to mums at the moment because there's tough times out there for a lot of them.
It does sometimes feel like it is like you said, it's hard work to be healthy, seemingly because there's so many things that we are our environments aren't healthy. I think if we kind of boil it down to that, my newsletter is called Healthy Living First, as a reminder to myself that it's not going to be the supplements that cure people. It's not going to be all the functional lab tests that are going to cure people. It's not the peptides, that are going to cure people. I always come back to the truth for me, as you mentioned, is like, how do we create a healthier environment where we can thrive without overanalyzing everything?
I
'Cause
think everything comes down. It starts at attitude. That's where at the top of the list you got
yeah,
to write the word down. Attitude. Uh, I mean, my attitude goes downhill fast. Even like at the moment, I haven't had sun for ages. When I have no sun, my attitude is really poor. When I've got sunshine and grounding, my attitude's always good. I don't care how bad things get, but it's really, I think, the most positive, the most important part of the entire thing about EMFs and measuring homes and health is attitude, carrying the right attitude, because the measurable effects that carry through the body, mind, body, soul, everything, is quite incredible when you got the right attitude. Once you lose the attitude, it's kind of game over.
I think
Um,
it's almost a two-way street as well. When we're in the wrong environment, it's harder
yeah.
to have the good attitude.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's the noise. It's the noise that
yeah,
creates incoherence, right? If you're familiar with
yeah,
like the work of the Heart Math Institute, they measured the magnetic field from the heart, and you can
yeah.
look at heart rate variability, how it changes. When your mood is uplifted, peaceful, harmonious, it's a nice sine wave of heart rate activity.
Blood flows through your body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when it's
you
not,
hit.
the graph is incoherent. It's choppy. And so like I've always kind of the when my attitude is not in a good place, that's a signal now for me. Have I been grounding? Have I gotten outside? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I sitting on my phone for too long? So those become like that's a symptom, how I reinterpret the symptom of like my attitude sucks right now. It's like, I know immediately, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna ground. I'm going to like return to the basics. And usually I can that has helped me a lot to get through those down periods because I think you seem more empathic than we I think we are both more sensitive, empathic to energy around us. And so I've had to learn and navigate the like taking on the negativity of like the world and others. So that has always been a signal to me that I need to refocus on the basic, reconnecting to nature. And
Yeah,
I feel like that's really helped me navigate what can feel like very heavy, dark things that are appearing in our world. So I don't know if you think about it the
yeah,
same
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I've been doing some Tai Chi lately. I always used to go on bike rides and laugh at people doing Tai Chi, riding past them.
We
And I
used to
think,
go past the park and laugh at all the older Asian people. Not laugh, but it's like, oh wow, Tai Chi is so slow. It's like,
yeah, and I've been doing a little bit of it, not a
yeah.
lot. Um, and just realizing, why they do it in Kung Fu and fighting as well, because of the movements and the way the energy moves and everything. So I'm rediscovering myself at the moment. I mean, I'm a lot different person than what I used to be, and uh, times are changing so quickly, and I'm changing, and so I'm experimenting with all sorts of I'm just trying to slow myself down, uh, my thoughts and everything. I just to be centered, to keep that right attitude. It's pretty hard because it's hard for me to go out and do any kind of work because I find it hard driving out with transmission power lines and everything. So I can't do as much as I used to, and that gets me down. That affects my attitude. Um, but it helps me go within. Um, and as they say, diamonds are made by pressure. It's we can't really be built. It's the trials in our life that make us who we are. Like, I've got very wealthy customers, um, who didn't really have many trials, and they don't grow. Like, I've been through a lot of things, but can't even share. And um, the harder the events, the more you learn. Um, but as far as the whole environmental thing, the consumerism going on at the moment, we're consuming ourselves um, out of existence at the moment. That's a situation. So I, yeah, I'm at a point now where I'm almost becoming like a Buddhist. I just don't want anything. I'm struggling with the desire of not having a desire. It's really bizarre for me. And a lot of people will be going through this. There's a shift happening at the moment, consciously through the world. Because we had everything. We've lived, in the last 30 years, it was pretty amazing with what we had on tap. Um, but we're moving into another time now where a lot of us are realizing that the consumerism is consuming us, and that the data centers and the cell phone towers and the power grid, everything's there's the waking up and seeing that the balance is off. And I'm not anti data centers, and I'm not anti cell phone towers or anything. It needs to be done differently. You There's a group of scientists who got together and put forward some standards that we should follow, that they're not based on industry guidelines. And we can very much have our phones, our technology, even data centers. We can have everything. We can have everything if it's done right. But because the regulations are so screwed up and so old, it's not protecting us. So, I don't want people to think that I'm anti-technology. I mean, my house is full of technology. I love music and um, love my technology, but the emission standards have to change. They're so outdated. It's nuts. Um, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon. Um, but it's out of control. The emissions, the state that we live in, that families live in, just the average family home. If I was to walk through an average family home and show you what we live in, and then compare it to nature, you shake your head. You go, what are these people doing? We look at it's, it, how we used to smoke um, cigarettes. It was just a normal thing, and EMFs now to just become a normal thing with in society. Uh, it's difficult. I mean, I'm doing this digital detox at the moment because I need to. I can't see a way out of it at the moment, but like um, not a clear, smooth track. And as a consultant, I need to be able to be confident to go, no, no, this is what we need to be doing. This is black and white, a good way. And you get so stuck in this digital realm of screens and internet from dawn to dusk that you lose sight. So I'm hoping by the end of my digital detox, I'm going to find another gear and find some and be able to be of more use to customers. Um, because, yeah, I mean, here I am still on the screen. Just because last week I was in the steak mode, just wanted to steak. I thought, I'm just going to go. I don't care. I'll just make my technology safe, and I'll just live in the digital cloud. And I'll upload myself into a data center and just enjoy it, and just. Uh, but there's something very off about it. There's something just like the music I was talking about, playing the CD and then playing the Super Audio CD, which sounded amazing compared to a CD, and then just going back to a record player. You do that experiment with anyone, and it's just jaw dropping. And it's the same with digital. And we are ordering, everyone's up in arms about data centers at the moment, but we have ordered it. We have ordered this. Everyone's using clouds and AI.
We are funding it.
Yeah, we're funding it. Yeah.
Yeah, we are funding it through our demand. Um, I think just being conscientious and aware of that, at least we can start to take steps in different, vote in a different direction with our behavior, hopefully.
Yeah, there's going to be groups of people who will move away from it. You definitely see the different communities. It's like around here we've got communities where we stop cell phone towers going up, so there's no 5G anywhere near me, even though I'm in Australia's first 5G city. So there's no 5G reception. And there's a number of places you can find like that, even around here on the Gold Coast, uh, which is Australia's first 5G city, because communities have got together
Mm.
and they've stopped. They're like-minded, and I do know I have to be community focused because that's the only way you can make changes through community. Not online communities like this is all right. It's important, but it's equally, if not more important, to do local communities as well, where you can live. They'll be the properties that will have values in the future, because the cell phone structure is not there. Um, I see cell phone towers going up in the middle of new home areas, and no one's doing a thing. They usually run down areas, and I'll just talk to someone down the street. I said, "You're not worried about that tower going up?" They go, "Oh no, no, I'll just have better reception." Well,
Mm.
no, just they don't think twice about it. But then there's communities that will go. Pretty much the whole community goes, "No, there's no way you're putting that tower there." So you need to find these communities, and that's where the change happens. Yeah, it's not just about finding a good location. You need to find a good community as well.
Yeah,
And
the community has to maintain that good environment
yeah,
because
and they get targeted. They get good communities get targeted because they know they're going to be problematic by the people who want all these towers and things out there. Um, but yeah, and once again, those communities are mainly driven by um, power mums. Like most of those communities that make dents have got very powerful women in them. Like that, you never ever mess with a mother. Like uh, they're the most dangerous. That's the other reason why we made this Mito Meter. We thought if we're going to make a dent in the EMF game, we've got to focus on mums because nothing is more lethal than a mother on a mission. Like you can't stand in front of them. Um, so, so when I've stopped a few cell phone towers going up around my area, and all I did was I handpicked a few mums, educated them, and they were like a bull terrier, just ripping into the local MPs, member of parliament, um, got people together, petitions and everything. Um, so you can stop towers going. It's easy to stop them going up, hard to get them to take them down. But cell phone towers do so much damage because they cover, you know, up to 2 kilometers or a mile and a half. You've got a radius of radiation that is far from ideal for a family. or living healthy. Um, Ideally, we should really go back to having antennas on the roof, have like lower radiation levels by thousands, have an antenna on the roof, and then um, have your delivery choice from the antenna of the roof. So just like the old cars used to all have antennas on the roof for the cell phone because it had a high gain antenna. Because back then the signals were very weak. We need to go back to that kind of thinking where we have more high gain antennas on homes, on cars, uh, and it's kind of like a system, more of a vertical structure, so that the data, instead of hosing down entire areas, um, you just focus on delivering to antennas and then going down into the home or into the car. So you can. I used to do Wi-Fi in homes that would meet building biology. So I'd go into multi-million-dollar homes and put, say, 4 wireless access points in. People go, "What? You're doing that as a building biologist?" Well, I'm not a building biologist, but as an EMF specialist. And I went, "Yeah, by putting in 4 antennas and placing them in the right place where they all see each other and running them at a super low level, um, you can meet building biology RF radiation levels in the bedrooms and keep them away from areas you don't want it, while still having everything connected." And so you need to have that same kind of approach in this world, not this blanketing approach where you put up tens of thousands of watts of microwaves blanketing a whole area. Um, so there are projects under the way where people are improving infrastructure, but it's very small at the moment. I do hope we will see the off-grid free energy devices come back that they're going to release in 2000. They were $10,000 a pop. They just give you electricity for free, run for 20 years without any service. That was supposed to come out. That was removed from Australia, but we're way overdue for that type of technology. With that kind of technology, you can just go all DC. There's no AC, there's just nothing. You can throw these away, basically.
So to
You can,
clarify for someone listening, right, there's alternating current, which most of our electrical systems are based on.
yeah,
Up,
it
down,
alternates. Yeah,
alternates,
alternates 50 times a second for us and
50
60 times
hertz.
for you.
Yeah, 60 hertz.
Yeah, that's
And
one
then direct
cycle.
current does not,
Direct current doesn't. So if I get a battery and put it onto a light, it's direct. It's no, you can't measure anything. It's
and our
just
human physiology, Dr. Robert Nobecker showed, we are powered by DC.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you still get a alternating pattern or movement when you start taking a D. So if you take DC and you process it and run it through a processor like to run this laptop on power, uh, the power pack will take bits of the electricity and send small amounts and convert it to DC. Now, when you do that, that disrupts the DC. So the DC becomes noisy. It becomes basically AC. It starts alternating at 400 um, cycles or so, 400, yeah, 400 cycles a second or something like that. So, um, so 400 gigahertz, I've just gone blank on frequencies. So anyway, DC going from a battery to a light bulb is fine. That's perfect. But if you put a circuit in it and you start processing it, then it's not clean anymore. So, um, and then cheap, if you do it cleanly and use good quality electronics, you can still keep a clean DC signal from the beginning to the end. Like a good amplification or on electronics, they have very low noise. They do it very carefully, dealing with the DC noise. But AC from the power grid, everything's mainly AC that we use, our fridges and TVs. We could really live in a DC world if we had free energy at our homes. Implementing technology in safer ways is
Yeah.
possible, but it'd be really nice if they could release some of those patents that have been shelved. I mean, I even had a customer with a turbine generator, gas turbine generator, size of a it was the size of a suitcase, and I forgot how much power it put out, but it could basically run half a suburb. It was incredible. I never heard from him again. He just disappeared about
So what
15
you're
years
saying
ago.
is if we could not be dependent on the AC electric grid, is my understanding, have our
Yeah,
own free energy systems in our house,
yeah.
that would
Solve
it
most
would
of the
almost
problems.
like clear the noise from
Yeah, I
most of
wouldn't have
our
that. That'd be nothing.
I and what comes to
Stardust.
mind is that would be a very expensive. People would lose a lot of the financial incentives don't align with that.
But it's only $10,000 for the machine, for the
Right.
box,
And so
thereabouts.
there would be people who would be losing income from
Oh,
providing electricity.
you mean like the power companies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like petrol, it's like oil, so it's the same deal. Um, but that's the issue. It's got to be a transition. I think I've got a feeling that's what Trump's about at the moment, is trying to work out some kind of transition where we can ditch the oil, well, still use oil, but make a transition to these free energy devices. I wouldn't be surprised even if they use some of those data centers for the free energy delivery. We don't know what's in them. We don't know what's in those data centers, but there could actually be technology in there that could actually drive power back into society, not actually take it out. But they're not actually telling us what's in those data centers.
Mm.
Um, but I'm just, I just can't believe it's 2026 and we're not. Like, I honestly thought by 2020 we'll be all running these generators, like just running our own power, and free energy is just normal. I'm very surprised. Mind you, in Florida in 2012, they stopped off-grid living because there's too many people moving to off-grid, and then so they made it against the law to live off-grid. You have to be powered off the grid. They want us to be dependent on it as well because then they can control you. So if the society all had free energy um, devices, which are easy to make and affordable, and then and we capture our own water, we don't need the government. So I mean that's the other issue. Um, so but we've got now with electric cars coming in, that's driving up power demand. Electric cars, to charge a car overnight uses so much electricity, it's insane. And power grids are already overloaded. So these magnetic fields are just going to go up, up, and up. Um, we Now is the time we need free energy devices. And it might sound like um, unrealistic, but it's not. There's plenty of patents that simple ways of delivering free energy to the homes. And that's where it's kind of like a bottleneck. It's a bottleneck where we can't progress as society without it. And the other issue, of course, is if it gets into the wrong hands, you get unlimited power for tycoons. That can become an issue as well. You imagine what you could do with unlimited power as far as weapons you can build, uh, electronic weapons. So I mean, and it just, I mean, this is getting off topic from EMFs, but for me, I mean, if each house had its own DC generator, it'd be a heaven on earth scenario. Um, I wouldn't even sell. I would stop selling these overnight. Stop ordering them. Just get on with building safe homes. Uh, at the moment, I'm using AC. If you're building a home, I just try and keep the AC runs away from bedrooms and just you design homes so that like your media and kitchen and laundry all back onto the same kind of area, so the power's just in one area, and have DC lighting everywhere else and no AC. So, I mean, there is ways around building safer homes at the moment using AC, but I can turn the power off in this house at the distribution board and still have high electric fields and high magnetic fields because it's coming in from the road, going from the road down into the roof. through the middle of the house, out to the back of the house, into a distribution board. So just the whole house. It's got magnetic because you got metal roof gutting, and that becomes conductive. And then if you've got metal roofs, that all becomes conductive from the power line coming in from the road. And just one thing after the other. So peeling back the onion layers, you just got to
Yeah.
constantly find new stuff. And you think, oh, I'll fix that. Then you realize some things you can't fix. Like if I want to try and bring down the electric fields of a home that's got a metal roof, you got to ground it. But then even that can become complicated. So yeah, some homes are more problematic than others. Like you can have a home on a slope of a hill down the bottom, and then at the tops of power lines, and the potential is much higher down the bottom of the hill. So even though there's power lines from power electricity is up on these power lines, the least resistance is the ground rod in the house down the hill. So quite often you see situations like that where you're struggling to get electric fields down because they've got this power line coming down from the road that's up on a hill, and they're in a really good spot with the least resistance. And regardless of what you do, the power line's just dropping its electric field. That's where you get stray currents, especially in the US with the cows and that, and some of the farms where the cows get sick from the current going through the ground. And you get that in quite a few homes where you got current literally going through the ground. Usually bad circulation to the feet is a sign. If you've got bad circulation on your feet, I'll put money on it. Your floor's electric. Even if it's just a small amount, it's enough to stuff up the circulation because you haven't got that natural voltage that I was talking about, the natural cycle of, you got the Earth's negative. I'm not allowed to use negative, am I? And you got the ionosphere, which is a positive charge. I'm not allowed to use it. So we call it a charge and discharge. So that's constantly happening. And in a home, it doesn't, because you've got an AC charge. It's not only just a charge, it's charging 60 times or 50 times a second. Let's go. So that's the problem with AC. The charge, the force, is constant. It's beating you up. Or I shouldn't say beating you up. But
It's noise. It's
you can
noise.
measure it. You can measure on a spectrum analyzer. You can listen to it going through you. Yeah, it's quite
So
amazing.
yeah, it's so when we think about EMF, as you like, we're peeling the layers of the onion, and you get to the core of it. The core we were discussing is, well, the source of this interference. A lot of it's the electrical grid we're relying on. So when we like, if you imagine a mother and you're
And
helping her
towers.
search for her ideal home to nest
Yep.
in, right? Is that nesting
Yeah, yeah.
instinct? It's maybe we can maybe lay out maybe a decision process. Let's say they can choose where they want to live, location wise, geographically. How might
Within
you
with Okay,
ideally like help them make a decision
within
for
2 minutes, you can
for
find
choosing?
out where to live with Google Maps and an antenna site map. I've trained my daughter to do it. She does it before she goes and stays somewhere. It takes a couple of minutes. She'll look at the Google Maps, make sure there's no power transmission lines, and then she'll use antenna map to see if there's any major cell phone towers. Um, so it's actually quite easy to find a property um, if you know how to use your local antenna site. I use MapRad. You might have some easier ones there, but MapRad gives me more information. And it's like you might see a little dot on the map, and you'll click on it, and it's got 30 or 100 assignments. Whereas if it's just a dot, and so you've got two or three assignments, it's just a radio comm site or something basic. But Um, on this map, on MapBrad, you can see where major cell phone towers are, and you can dial up 1 kilometer, or in your case, 1 mile, 5 miles, and work out where the best place is. But often the best places are on the edge of society. So you go somewhere where there's a lake, or you go somewhere where there's a hill and a forest or something, and you find an off-road with a one-way street, with a single power line, which is just distribution power line, dead end streets like that, and they're usually very good. Or if you're around river systems, just find somewhere on the outskirts of it. That's the word I was looking for, outskirts. You need to be on the outskirts of suburbia for the least amount of impact from the magnetic fields. I'm right in the middle of it. So, yeah, I do get a lot of mothers who live next to transmission power lines. Some of them do move, from my advice. They get this meeting, they look at that and go, nah, bugger that. They don't mess around, and their husbands just, take orders. They sell up and move. And I have no problems giving them that news. And I'm so glad they do it. I never hear back from them. No news is good news. So, they tell me that they've found a good place, and I assume they live happily ever after with their Mito Meter. And it brings me great joy when someone makes it's a hard decision to have to move, but yeah, they never regret it. Just frustrates me. We're building 25,000 kilometers of new transmission lines in Australia to run the windmill things, the wind
turbines.
turbine.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we got this free, we can just use these patent technologies and have our own power. I know with the big military projects, they have their own power sources. They don't need to run power from the main power stations. They have their own little secret stash of technologies. But it's this time, I'll be very surprised if they don't release it in the next 5 years. But I was saying that in 2010. I thought it was all going to happen. Between 2010 to 2015, I thought they'll be rolling out technology. They had it on 60 Minutes. They had it on our television shows. They said, this is the technology. We're going to roll it out. This is going to be standard issue for homes. Around $10, 10 grand pop for your average home. And it never happened. So anyway, we'll watch that space. I'm hoping with the next couple of years, with the disclosure project happening and taking place with Trump in office. I'm not for or against Trump or anything. I'm not a political. I don't get into politics. But I know that he's got his fingers in the pies of some very interesting technology, which could solve a lot of what I'm dealing with here. And his hands will be tied to a certain extent to how far he can go. But a lot of the reason why we're having oil shortages and food shortages is because they're controlled by the main bodies that don't allow us to have this technology. I think that a lot of what's going on is going to be to do with the technology that's going to be released after this show's all over. Because we can't progress with data centers or AI at the rate we're moving at and do it in such a way where humanity can survive. As far as EMFs go, it's impossible. They have to bring out these shelf technologies. So I'm just talking kind of like long-term goals of if we're going down this road, and we are. No one's stopping it. We're going through this like a ship going through a storm. The ship's not turning around and going home. We'll get the AI's coming, technology's not going anywhere. It's just going to get more and more, but we need to find the balance between nature, analog, and tech. it has to be a harmonious arrangement between synthetic intelligence and mankind, um, the flesh man. That harmonious arrangement, the artificial intelligence and the technology they have of reading minds and um, the processing power they've got, they could actually do it. I mean, a lot of people say you can't, but it's a double-edged knife. It could be done. Um, yeah, the harmonious arrangement between man and the synthetic intelligence machine. That's the battle. That's ultimately the guts of the situation. And we need to do a good job of navigating our way through the storm. And AI actually may be the solution of actually moving through it. A lot of time in life, your very biggest problem is your solution. And AI could, even though people say AI is going to be the end of the world, I do wonder if I do like to think that it actually may be the solution, but it has to be done in a coherent way. And with the technologies that they use, you can measure what's coherent and incoherent from EMFs to thought forms to entities and energies and everything. Nothing's not unmeasurable. And it's not going to be too long before we have drones. We've got the robots coming out, the robot dogs in Australia. I don't know if you've got them. And we have robots in Australia. They're coming out now. But we're going to have drones, and they will be able to read your thoughts. It's not make believe. And of course, you can put this to. This can be good and bad. But it comes down to attitude. If we can kind of get AI to have the right attitude, it's very, very hard because it doesn't have any accountability. We have accountability. We do something wrong, we suffer, we get disease and die. AI doesn't. So there's accountability issue. So that's the only thing that has to be resolved. Anyway, moving on. I won't get.
I think this you've got me thinking. I keep thinking of like biophilic design. Like I've always been interested like architecture, homes, and environment. I was thinking from that like physical point of view. How do you create a space that creates is part of the conversation, but how do we create an environment that is biophilic, like coherent with human life? And I think that this is what you're bringing up when it comes to energy. Like if we think we're talking about the root cause, right? We can measure our individual space all we want and like turn off our routers, but that's like a drop in the bucket in terms of like that's the
Mm,
needle. It doesn't move the needle enough.
yeah, you've got to be at the right place at the right time with the right person. It's a timing
Mm.
thing, and it's interesting. Just out of making, even just some podcasts like this, those kind of situations arise because certain people listen to it, and then something leads to something else, and then you get in touch with someone in the community. But um, one thing we can guarantee is that the pace of technology is going to move to a point that we can't comprehend. Um, it's just going to seem like magic. People won't be able to understand what's happening. People won't know what's up or down. But I do have faith that we will have the technology and means to measure what's coherent and what's not. So being transparent and coherent um, needs to be the order of the day. Um, Nothing more and nothing less. And if that doesn't happen, it can get ugly. But yeah, I don't know how you tie in accountability with synthetic intelligence. Um, it's just like a lot of people, NPCs around who um, aren't accountable. They have they can't see outside of their running program. Um,
Would you describe that as evil? Is that the
oh,
the manifestation of the force of evil I think it
Okay,
was
so
Frank.
I see sin, right? So sin is a
Then, yeah.
sine wave or a pattern. It's so sin is missing the mark. That's what sin means. And what I call the mark is coherent. So you look at frequencies and thought patterns, and like they do that experiment with sounds going through a pad, and there's sand on the top doing
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
patterns.
Yeah, I've seen that. It creates a
Yeah,
geometric
yeah. So
coherent shape or pattern, right?
co
Yeah,
coherent. So that's
yeah.
the mark. And when you lose that coherency, that's um, missing the mark, sin. So, I mean, I look at the Bible and the word sin. I mean, I try and look at things from a technical point of view. So, everything can be broken down to technology. And from your point of view, probably more from science. You probably look at things from science, biologically. Um, so, yeah, sin. Um, it's going to be difficult because we we're already there. We're at a point where we can read thoughts on a computer. You can even download. Oh, I shouldn't really go too far into. They're going to police our thoughts. What's that movie that Tom Cruise was in? That they would go
Min
and arrest someone before they Minority
Minority
Report.
Report? Yeah.
Yeah, we're there already. Um, I'd say 2030 we'll start seeing technologies around that. We'll definitely have the drones that will be able to sense what's if you're a threat or not. And the crooks are going to have to train their mind to trick their the surveillance through thought police. That's just crazy. And we're moving into these times. And anyway, I feel like I'm just a someone stuck in a roller coaster ride that can't get off. And so I'm just going to put my seatbelt on and just buckle in and try and keep a positive attitude and do the best I can. Because nothing, there's nothing. If you've got a good attitude, you're doing your best. I mean, you can't beat yourself up any more than that. So I don't beat myself up if I get things wrong or do things wrong. If I've got a good attitude and I'm doing the right things, I don't beat myself up. But we're entering into some trying times, especially later on this year. Um, there's going to be things happening and things shifting, times changing, people changing. And it's going to almost feel alien, the world we're living in, when they start applying some of these technologies. But I think it's going to be a breakaway civilization or communities that will flourish, and they'll be like the beacon, the lighthouse, and because the darker it gets, the lighter the light becomes, and people are already seeing that now. That there's a lot of people waking up because they can just see how dark things have got, and that everyone's moving in their direction. Um, but people wonder why I go so far down rabbit holes on spirituality and weird stuff, and it's because when we go down this rabbit hole of having AI, drones, and technology that reads your minds, and then we've got entities and synthetic intelligence operating at a spiritual level. Um, and you can measure it all. So it's not make believe. You can actually measure the synthetic intelligence coming into somebody. Um, they're going to understand why I go so far left or right. Because I've always been someone who's gone to the root of the problem. Because as a prayer warrior, I always prayed or asked for the root of a problem. Like when I go to a house, whenever you talk about anything, I like to get down to the root of the problem, and that's what comes down. Even EMFs is such a tough thing to get down to the bottom of because you start talking about it with top engineers and very intelligent people, and they have completely different views of what electromagnetic field is and what um, uh, electricity is or magnetism. Um, anyway, I have some very frustrating conversations. But anyway, so I've got to go down this track because I go to some homes and I could have someone, a woman who's dying of cancer, she's got 3 months to live, and I go into her house. It's pretty good. It's not bad, but I'm measuring ley lines, and these ley lines are really bad and really strong. So my L rods would cross. I use these L rods, right? And they'll cross really heavily to a point where it can be windy. And I've got very heavy L rods, and they're just like forced together because the energy going through that house is so strong. I can, so I'll clear that. That's also going through the neighbor's house, and he has a heart attack the same day because the entities in him are what's giving him his life force. So some people, when they get possessed, they have far more energy. They can do things that they usually can't do. So by creating coherent environments in some situations is actually not coherent for someone who's operating on a negative energy. And it's almost like this with technology. Um, for people, they're empowered by technology and even the synthetic intelligence that's um, they're feeding on or feeding them, and you remove it, and they struggle. It's a struggle for them. Um, so I mean, I've got a son who spends a lot of time on the computer. I, he's got no interest in doing much other than being on the computer. So, and I know there's a lot of parents out there, a lot of mums with exactly the same situation, where they're scared to go into their own kid's room because of outbursts of anger because they've been interrupted by a game. Um, and there's this big disconnect taking place. Um, and most mums will just go along with it. They'll just accept it. Um, but
This reminds me a little bit of a a paradox I've been reading. I mentioned, you said that clients don't mention the book, The Invisible Rainbow. People are Furstenberg, but what he mentions in the book is that there's this paradox where people who are seem to be exposed to high EMF live longer, but it's because it slows their metabolism down. So as you're talking, it sounds like there's some people who thrive on these
I didn't read
artificial.
that. I haven't heard that part of the book. I,
Yeah.
I, I,
Yeah, he talks about metabolism a lot. Like it's it slows metabolism down. So for in some ways it can increase longevity in terms of biological life, like
I
time
would
alive,
argue,
but it
there's a few things he
decreases
said
your
that
vitality.
I would
And
argue with a few things he comes up with. But anyway,
okay, yeah, I'd be interested to
uh,
hear like it just seems like there's some not everyone responds the same way. It doesn't the way it
yeah, yeah.
shows up does not show up as like you're going to die. It doesn't, you
No,
know, it but it can also in some ways take over your your life force, or it becomes like an artificial life force.
well, there's some university, I forgot which one in the States, where they got a top. There's a guy who did remote viewing and what else could he do? These psychic readings, and they put him in a room with high EMFs, and he couldn't do it. Like they used Microsoft to generate the computers to generate some noise in the room, and he could use all his abilities with this technology off, and then when they turned it on, it stopped it. I do know that the my dream time is far different in an EMF-free environment. But look, I've got a lot of old customers who come from farms, and they lived into their 90s, and they were sharp as a nail. No, some didn't wear glasses. Um, and I think as far as life insurance goes, I'm pretty sure life insurance shows that people living in cities don't live as long.
I believe it. Yeah. I mean,
I
for
know that their rates are more expensive for life insurance.
hmm.
I like, I'm pretty sure people do usually in the country would live longer, but now that I see that our life expectancy is now dropping for the first time. We're not living as long anymore. I don't know if that's because of a certain thing that happened in 2020, but I think it's probably a combination of that and uh, EMFs increasing. I mean, especially with electricity, the levels of dirty electricity is growing every year as more and more DC products more and more products are put into a house, and inverters from solar, especially in the non-European countries, and inverters from electric cars just send dirty electricity through the roof on homes. Um, so the EMF problem is just scaling out of control so fast. Um, I'm just here to help those who are left.
Yeah.
It's not like it's post um, the EMF apocalypse. It's done. We're now it's past that, and which needs. So you're still quite young. You've got your immune system. You live in a good home, so you're not affected by it. And not all people are affected by it, but there's more and more people becoming electrosensitive. So I think about 10 or 20% of people are electrosensitive now. And that's just going, that will be like the the immune system in the bucket will
Yep.
get to the point where there'll be a tipping stage and it'll fall over. It'll be too late by the time they work it out. So it's kind of SOS, save your own soul, um, build a community of people. I think it's really important, to be around people who look after you and understand and who are awake to just basically generally awake, who still have their intuition connection and have can. I mean, common sense. It's pretty hard to come by these days. I mean, I see people outside my window doing U-turns, and they don't go up to the spot where there's a easy part to turn. They'll do a 3-point turn right.
Right in front of your house and
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's happening more and more. And there's only like 20 or 30 yards away where there's just a big round thing. So just little things like that. And it's becoming a lot harder to educate people on EMFs. They look at you with such a blank face now. And a lot of people recognizing this. I don't know if it's to do with the doom scrolling and the fact that we've been dumbed down by our technology and devices.
Well, I
But
mean, I don't know if you've heard Dr. Jack Cruz talk about this stuff, but his term for it is everyone's deuterated, like full of deuterium.
oh yeah, yeah, oh totally.
Like he calls it a lattice lock. So, I'm imagining if we are piezoelectric, we're conductive, right? And your circuit board is filled with impurities. You're not going
Yeah.
to that
Well,
DC electric current is not going to work well. And
I
so,
lived.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think every day, my wife and I recap our drive like back home, and there's more and more people who just seem to be lost, like unaware, like just out of their
Ungrounded.
mind, just
Mm.
not present. I mean, just literally people just holding their phones while they're driving. And there's a lot of near accidents, a lot more near accidents, a lot more people who are, yeah, I think that term deuterated. We haven't defined deuterium, but it's a heavy hydrogen. And if we think about our bodies, think of it as
Well,
gumming up your system, gumming up your
I
brain.
I drank low deuterium water for 12 months straight, like
Yeah, you mentioned that at the very beginning.
35 parts per million. So I understand what deuterium does to you. Like the first thing I noticed, right, is my entire body started sweating. I just my skin became was moisturized, and I could handle EMFs more. Like I know I've got too much deuterium. I'm loaded on deuterium at the moment, um, but it's expensive water. I couldn't just live on it. But it, it and you can freeze water and pour off, water, and then the water that comes off it's got less deuterium than the heavy water that froze first. And there's people who get water from certain places, like the Blue Mountains in Australia, or certain mountains where there's less deuterium in the water. But it's such an effort. I mean, going and getting sun, grounding, walk on the beach, you're creating your own deuterium, you're dropping deuterium levels, and making it yourself, low deuterium water is the key. But I reckon it's almost impossible to do in a high EMF environment.
You're
I mean,
filling up the bucket faster than you can empty the bucket, if we use that image.
yeah, yeah. Um, but there was a very interesting experiment, drinking that water. And the crazy thing about drinking that low deuterium water is I could drink a liter or 2 liters and wouldn't even go to the toilet. Like you did, if I use tap water or if it's filtered, I need to go to the toilet quite often. It goes straight through me. Low deuterium water, your body just absorbs it. So it's incredible.
Wow.
I really miss that. You just instantly feel yourself perspire. It just goes through you. So, and Jack Bruce was big on low deuterium water years ago. And Jason Bourne Smith used to get into it, and he supplied me. And I mean, if you put it on a drip, I mean, you could save a lot of people.
Like an IV.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
now, I don't know if you've heard of ASEA, right? But so,
I think my mom might. Yeah, I think I've seen it in my parents' house. I think so. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Is
so
it salt? Is like mineral
redox,
redox water? Okay.
yeah, Bill's redox. A lot of people say it's a scam, but this and low deuterium water I find are the best things for getting. So if I've got an infection or get sick or
Hmm.
need a get out of jail card, I've got a friend who sells this. So um, I supply EMF meters and she just gives me some of this. And it has a similar effect to low deuterium water. But, a lot of people talk about EMF protection, and the only real EMF protection is to guard your mitochondria and to keep yourself strong. So, like if I've had a very bad day, or I'm sick, I can take that. See, like if I've got a bad infection or whatever, I do find I can have it for a couple of weeks. 600 mils in the morning and in the evening, and whatever I've got will go. So I'll just have some of that after this, and it'll boost me. But I'll be actually curious to see what you recommend, because it's always different for other people. People like, for instance, if I have a dozen oysters, I'm Superman for 48 hours. It's the number one EMF booster for me. If someone goes, David, you need to go here and do this, and I'll go, shit, that's really bad EMF. I'm not going to do that. I'll just go and buy a dozen oysters.
Do you think it's the DHA, the omega-3 fatty acids, or is it
It's a
something else?
combination of the minerals. It's a combination of
Minerals?
the
Okay.
minerals and the whole. Even Jack Cruz is very big on oysters.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But even fish, like if I have fish once a week, as expensive as it is, good fresh fish. I mean, it is good to have DHA levels up high. But the oysters are the best hit. So electrosensitive people do need to find a diet or routine to get them out of a situation when they've been overexposed. So, you might have someone who goes overseas, flies somewhere and comes back and they're just cooked. Or they fly overseas and they need something to get them back up. And people in my circle usually have certain routines or take certain not so much supplements, but we'll do certain things to get them back up to voltage, so to speak, because it's a voltage drop. Um, and of course, I mean, nothing beats grounding or sun. I mean, that's the ultimate. Or even cold water therapy is big,
Yeah.
cold water. But that can be hard on people with a pushed immune system. Um, but a lot of people in my circle are close to Jack Kruse, so I get fed all information from secondhand from them, which has been very helpful, including the low deuterium water. But I was surprised taking this stuff, 600 mils, 1 cup of that in the morning, one in the evening. It worked really well. But I'm a plus blood type, and I know with different blood types, you got more copper levels, some, and then some more iron based. I forgot which one's which, but different blood types, different types of people um, can boost their voltage or repair themselves after a heavy exposure with certain protocols. And that's not my area of expertise. I'll stay in my lane, stick with electronics, but I'm guessing that's where you come in. You can break something like this down more.
Yeah, because I think of there's the idea of the terrain theory. So where I'm landing, I think personally with my own experiences, the everything I've been doing for my own health, strengthening my mitochondria, my redox state, I notice I'm less sensitive to my environment.
Yeah,
I've done genetic testing on myself and my family. So my mother, we are poor detoxifiers. Like looking at our glutathione,
yeah,
enzymes, we're like the canaries in the coal mine. So sensitive. You walk into a casino, the smoke,
yeah.
headaches, sense, candle smell, like. But I grew up with a peanut allergy, so I have that atopic child type of. You get the eczema, peanut allergy, seasonal allergies. That's my childhood, even up to my early 20s.
All right.
And all the naturopathic things that we learn, cold thermogenesis, Jack Kruse has talked about that. That's a very classical naturopathic therapy. Grounding, we talk about the routes of elimination, bowel movements, urination, sweating, emotions. And Jack Kruse has been recently talking a lot about these, like having a Bristol 4 bowel movement is a way to clear deuterium. So that all these things are actually deuterium depleting. These
Yeah,
naturopathic
right.
therapies, the vitalistic original naturopathic therapies. Now there are a lot of naturopathic doctors who are jumping on the functional medicine. They say they practice functional medicine, lab testing, supplements, peptides. And Jack Kruse has been saying those are going to he hypothesizes it's gonna break people's redox and lattice. It's gonna create lattice lock. It's just making you more deuterated. So
All right.
it's very interesting that I think I've always when I've heard Jack Kruse say return to nature like in different ways, he's more naturopathic than some of the naturopathic doctors that I know.
Yeah,
This
but he's clever.
He's clever, and I think he's enlightened the technical reason why some of these things work. But it makes it for me, it makes it simpler therapeutically when someone's electrosensitive. It's like there's hope that if you are sensitive, I believe that if you strengthen the terrain, we do 80/20. Remove some of the big sources of exposure that we can get to a place of balance and harmony with our environment without feeling like
Yeah. Oh, look,
we have,
I've always said I'd love to
yeah,
do a thing where I go and stay on an island for a month and just eat McDonald's. So I'm in a bad environment, but I'm in the ocean in the sun. I don't care what I eat. I think I said this to you, and I think I'll be fine. And I've had this argument with a few people, and So food is really important for me to get right when I'm living inside this
Yes.
electric house
Right.
and in a bad environment. But when I'm outside of this environment, um, uh, doesn't make much difference. As I said, I can go to the beach for 3 days and go back to normal. And what I call normal is not feeling seedy and thinking and thinking normally, thinking straight, clear-headed, having a really good bulletproof attitude, and just feeling on top of the world. Um, and I can't get this, especially with at the moment when it's we've got like New Zealand weather. It's just overcast every day, no sun, um, and I'm stuck in this electric building. I'm inside because there's off gassing going on outside. And it's just not healthy. I remember staying at a friend's house 5 years ago, and they live in a natural park. It's native bush. It's incredible. And I was standing on a bank of a hill, and it was just ferns and natural bush. And you had all the natural microbiome coming up the valley, just slight low, this light southerly. And I felt like I breathed air for the first time. I was just like, I was going, oh my goodness, that's what air's supposed to smell like. It was just full of life. And it's stuck with me ever since. And that's normal for them. Um, but when you're breathing that kind of air, what's that doing to your butt? Not your butt biome, your
Gut microbiome.
gut,
It is
gut,
your
not
butt.
gut.
I mean, that's part of it.
Your gut biome. And yeah, so talk about low deuterium water, but even just air quality, just sucking that in, breathing that in. It was incredible. Most freshest air I've ever smelled, and it was alive. It was just beautiful. I stood there for 10 minutes. And they were yelling, "Oh, you're coming over. You're right over there." I was just standing out in the distance on this edge of a hill with forest and natural bush and ferns and just this rich, rich smell. And it's normal for them. They live off the land, grow the veggies, fruit. They don't eat meat. Just another day at the office. It's not easy life though, because you're a couple of hours away from society and you've got a river to cross to get to town. And when it's flooded, you can't get out, and trees are falling over roadways. And so it's not always easy just going out and living out in the bush. You can't just go, I'm going to live bush. Um, anyway, I was just throwing that in there because there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about living in a place like that, or what it would be like to live in a situation where you got that kind of air, and you're drinking spring water um, that's got balanced minerals in it and is charged naturally with good memory, just the whole shebang. It's because it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. Living a healthy life, we've just made it complicated. We're trying to break everything down. When all you need to do is go back out into nature and live it. But we've removed it. We've removed it from our lives severely. And to pedal backwards is not easy. It's back to where we should be. Um, but maybe with the technology moves at such a pace, a good scenario would be that we can take it back to where we could be and have artificial intelligence, synthetic intelligence, and have a heaven on earth scenario. I mean, it's like two timelines, could go either way. Um, but that world could exist. We have like a Star Wars kind of scene where you got Luke and his mother in one of those little mud hut things in the desert or wherever. You just live very simple lives. You get all technology in the world. Um, but I do miss, just natural EMFs, a natural EMF setting, and good quality water, even just good quality water from a good spring. fresh air, you can't be sick. It's impossible. Um, only way you can get sick is from stress or abuse from someone, mental abuse. Um, but we need to build those communities together in a community-based focus setting. And there's plenty of people want to do it. And just if they just release the patents on the free power energy devices like they were in 2000, it'll be a home run.
Yeah.
And it could we might go down that path here. I don't know.
I mean, you mentioning that is really the first time I've heard about it, but I guess I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I always kind of
Yeah, yeah.
I can see a future of that. That'd be amazing.
I do have I did have, and I still do kind of have a nickname, Doomsday Dave. I was always known as Doomsday Dave.
When you don't
Um,
get enough sun or grounding, then
yeah, yeah. But now I understand I can measure thought forms and measure everything and know that technology is at a point where it can measure what I've measured and way beyond. I'm thinking we just got to build an accountability into this whole coherent machine. Um, and it's because anything is possible to those who believe, like, if we can think it and believe it, and there's enough of us doing it, it can happen. Big believer in that. We live in a mental world. Um, and, we're talking about, we've got technologies now that are coming on tap where to learn, you'll put a device in your head and it will be like the Matrix, where you just download what you need. So even just using technologies like that, we're going to progress at such a rate that we're unrecognizable. Society today is going to be unrecognizable, but it's going to be done where we've got the scope to pull back and get a good perspective on the balance of what's going on and don't get lost in the machine and stuck in data centers. Anyway, um,
how should we round this out?
attitude, just have the right attitude, I think. Is this, and if you've got a question and you feel like to reach out, I just reach out. It's just a simple email. It can just be one sentence, one line. And just I might only email one line back. It might be all you just need to hear. But I just suppose sometimes some of the most simplest bits of information is all someone requires to make a big difference. And I think our audience is quite narrow compared to the broad picture. But there'll be definitely plenty of people who've listened to this who are keen to jump in the right direction and might just have one itching question. And I think it's important that they just ask that because that can be the stepping stone to something that's going to empower everyone or their society or people forward. Community. Coherency, being coherent frequencies. Everything's going to become measurable. So, of course, some measuring devices are extremely expensive. Some aren't. But anyway, got hope. I've got hope. I just don't like how isolated we're all becoming. So we're going to try and glue together these what do you call it? Groups of people, circles, create circles, and then communities. So circles, and then it's interesting. We used to with churches back in the day when I used to go to church. You'd have a church, but then you would have community groups, several circles within the groups, and then they would come together. And actually, in the Bible, it's interesting how God says, "Do not forsake the gathering of saints." So I think it's really important to have a good attitude, but to come together. and not forsake the gathering of people because we're like coals in a fire. You take one coal out and it goes cold. Got to keep the fire going. Um, don't know how achievable that is by doing this. I mean, this is important. It's one aspect of it, but it has to be done in the physical as well. Um, and which is becoming increasingly difficult. But anyway, I guess we just watch this space.
So what started out as a conversation I thought was we were going to be talking about meters and measuring this and that, but I will I I appreciate the direction that these conversations have gone because I like you, I like to peel the layer. I like to talk about the root cause, like the true root cause, not the and it sometimes it requires peeling back layers. What might start as, hey, measuring certain things in your home,
Yeah,
and then you realize that there's more to it. And I think that's the beauty of exploring problems is that sometimes the true solutions come just from gaining a little bit more awareness. What you think will solve a problem doesn't always necessarily mean it will be the final solution that solves your problem.
yeah. If you've got a coherent environment as far as EMFs go, you've got natural EMFs, so your signal to noise ratio is good. Your thoughts, you got a good attitude, so then therefore your signal to noise ratio on coherent, non-sinning, not missing the mark, everything's coherent. Um, if you kind of all get in that same wavelength or state, um, you all magnetized on that same kind of level. You gravitate towards each other, and you can see it happening quite quickly in society at the moment. Um, People coming together just on the same wavelength. The issue is, of course, because the cost of living at the moment is driving more division. People are working so hard to try and keep their head above water. Once that's resolved, it helps more. But it does, the cost of living does put a spanner on the works as far as simplify simplifying what I just said. Um, People become, and because of when you're busy, also a lot of people, the business is based around EMFs, screens, Wi-Fi devices, which aren't coherent, especially with how a lot of people have them set up. So yeah, it's you just got to keep a good attitude regardless of what position you're in. Um, Whatever cost it takes. And that's where I stand. I see a lot of people in a lot of tough situations, um, and we just keep the right attitude. That's just a rule amongst us, you know.
Yeah.
Just keep on keeping on. Um, but and things, I think things are going to get quite a bit tougher before they get better.
Mm.
Sometimes that needs to be. I mean, you look at the people who lived through the Great Depression. A lot of my customers lived through the Great Depression, and they had to live off scraps. And I learned a lot of them. Um, they're very resilient. Their mindset's a lot different. I mean, a lot of those guys are in the 90s now. Well, they've all passed away. Um, but sometimes you need hard times to make a man. Um, so maybe we need hard times, but as long as we need the free energy devices. Um, anyway, attitude. This is what we're attitude and sun. Keep away from artificial light. Measure your environment. Do screen testing. Yeah. Help those in need. I'm a big believer in helping those in need. Look over your shoulder and um, help someone else.
I think that, yeah, when we help others, it really is helping ourselves. It feel it feeds the soul when
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
when you can
yeah.
support another person or being, like take care of plants, take care of an animal.
Essentially, yeah, yeah, it is giving. I always thought, yeah, I couldn't believe it's almost selfish when you start giving, doing it because you knowing you're doing it because you it feeds you. Um, but yeah, I used to spend a lot of time helping others, of no charge. Um, and people would go, "Oh, can't, you're so nice doing that." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm not nice. I'm not nice." Yeah, ask my wife. I'm okay, but I'm not nice. And
Right.
I'm doing this because I get off and it's what I get out of it. So don't think that I'm nice. Oh, okay, David. Okay, you're not nice. But yeah,
It's a what we call a win-win.
yeah,
It's a positive feedback loop.
yeah. But and the biggest problem I've seen within the church, especially when I in the last days before I left, because it's too much radiation in churches now, um, was we could no longer help others because we couldn't help ourselves. The church was getting sick. That's what I noticed. So
Hmm.
the church was getting sick. Everyone, a whole lot of them. And if you're not well, you can't help others. And that was a huge problem because I used to see that, you know, 2 or 3 pages of A4 paper of prayer requests of what people wanted and where they're at. And I was thinking these people can't reach out and help others if they can't help themselves. Uh,
Is it
and
because of
so
the EMF of the church or the just the state of the people?
state of the people, state of the environment, just state of yeah, just general environment. People's environment. I mean, just back to what the World Health Organization said in 2012, there were about 86% of people's issues around environment. Our environment is so toxic at the moment um, that you can't, there's my pet birds come back. Um, he only comes back when the off-gassing stop. Butcher bird. Sleeps next to me, hangs with me all day, sits inside. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Um, what was I talking about? Yes, church. So
The people are sick, the environment, the WHO was saying how majority
yeah,
of illness is caused by toxic environment.
yeah, they don't get the picture. They don't. So I used to be, go around praying for people in hospitals or whatever, and again be into the healing ministry, um, and see incredible miracles. But as I said, a lot of the people who were cured from cancers and brain tumors, a lot of them got sick again because it was their environment that was bad. So I never went back to doing that kind of work. I now only focus on the environments because I'm not interested in doing healing or um, prayer meetings or anything like that. I'm just because our environments are so cooked. So that's my main focus now. Hello, I can see you. It's all right. Just want some food. Um, anyway, um, crazy. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked now. Uh, Anyway, it's been away for 4 days. It sleeps like 1 meter away from me every night, like on a light fitting. And when I'm outside, it'll follow me. If I go down and do work on the yard, just comes and sits there on a tree. Um, People come around, they can't believe it. Or if it's sort of my tripod, just sit in front of there.
So your bird, what's your bird's name?
I call it Buddy, but I mean it's only like about a year old, but it's there's quite a story behind it, but I'm not getting into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to have a wild bird just hang with you like that is insane. And I can be on the other side of the house and whistle. I've got a certain whistle for it, and I'll just fly around and just park up. So if it's out doing something, I can whistle it in and it'll come in. But whenever there's off-gassing or fumes or from the service station or from bombing, it'll take off for 3 or 4 days. But it's fascinating.
It's like your canary in the coal mine.
Yeah,
Your warning system.
yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Anyway,
So keep a good
I'll go.
attitude.
I'll go. Yeah, put it out, shoot, feed my bird, organic meat. Um,
Well, I'll just say I appreciate this conversation and the direction it's
yeah.
gone. We'll share it. I mean, there's always more to
I
share.
thought I was only going to talk EMFs, but anyway, it went a little left and right.
I mean, I appreciate it, and we can always, schedule another time to talk about the nitty-gritty of the EMF, or people can reach out to you directly to, you know, see how you can, like as you said, it's not just the meter, but also the problem solving and the solution finding that
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
valuable part of it. This is merely a tool that you use to help people be more aware of their environment.
yeah. Just to set up technology correctly. Yeah, because a lot of devices have got Wi-Fi on when they don't need Wi-Fi on. Just turn the Wi-Fi off. Um, or they turn the Wi-Fi off and it comes back on. They don't know because they don't have an EMF meter. Um, yeah, it's it's a must-have as far as I'm concerned for sensitive people. Well, for everyone, but mainly for sensitive people. Anyway,
Amazing. Well, thank
yeah,
you for your work and thank you for the conversation.
yeah. Thank you for contacting me, and yeah, everyone's welcome to email me if they've got any questions at david@blakes.com.au. So it's Blake's Blake, as in flake, fake, Blake. Yeah.
I'll share your email and website, of course.
Okay. All right then.
All right, thank you, David.
I'll see you next time.
See you next time.